Just one big joke. It's a fucked up world. Here we are in. I ain't going nowhere.
What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to the Reason Reborn, episode 21. I am here with my ringmaster, the greatest man ever when it comes to kayfabe, Cardiacsumo. Say what's up to the people, to all the marks, I should say. Since wrestling is going to probably be kind of a theme tonight because Daniel Bryan is back. Yes.
What up, you fucking marks?
Okay, you didn't have to call them fucking marks. Goddamn,
Right.
that was nice.
Marks that are.
Let's just call them smarks because they're hip to what's going on, at least. Okay,
No,
thank you.
Those are even worse.
Huh?
They're
Yeah, I know.
worse.
Smart, actually, they are because, no offense, never call yourself a smart. But that means that you're like asshole who thinks you know everything when you actually don't. But yeah, that's neither here nor there to be said. Thank you though to everybody who's watched, commented, all that stuff. Appreciate you. Although I do have a bone to pick with you guys. You didn't answer my question about the porn star, so I'm kind of mad. I wanted some answers about the porn star situation. Whether or not you would fuck Trump. That would.
I mean, I'm pretty sure just nobody wanted to admit that they would fuck Trump.
Most people don't want
I don't want to
to
put that shit out there.
Most people don't want to admit they have a price to do almost anything. So I don't.
Nobody
Oh
wants
God,
to.
he is fucking here.
He's talking about Jesus, guys. He found his faith. Oh, that beard is.
If you meant the ring, Jesus, yeah. Sure.
Oh, fuck, dude. Yeah, we
He didn't come out in flannel. He actually came out in this.
For those a little confused and living under a rock, I guess we got some extreme news today that Mr. Daniel Bryan, a wrestler, for those of you who are too lame to follow wrestling,
I know.
has returned after how long has it been?
It's been about a year and a half at least.
He got a terrible injury that seemed to cut his career short, and yet through some sort of godly intervention, he's back.
It's funny too because as hype as I am about him back, none of us should be surprised. Because remember Shawn Michaels? He had a fucked up neck injury, and everybody thought Shawn Michaels would never touch a ring again. Somehow, with the way medical science is, they were able to correct it to the point where Shawn Michaels wrestled another good 5+ years after he made a return.
Can we please get this Shawn versus Bryan match? Will that piece of shit please come out of retirement for 5 minutes? Oh my, sorry.
Yeah, I know. If he could have gotten with Shawn, that honestly you probably would have been able to make the case for the two greatest ring performers going head to head against each other at that point.
Oh my God. All the possible matches. Holy shit. But yeah, Daniel Bryan decided to come and take over the show apparently because this show was only announced today. So it's not like we planned on talking about this.
Yeah. And I'm going to have to go back and watch the replay after because I want to hear his speech. But it's fine.
He's got a fine beard.
I like that he's kind of tamed it a little because it used to be uber wild, but it's better being tamed. Just a bit. It's he still looks like a mountain man, but like a mountain man who's matured.
Got to get that Daniel Bryan beard, man. I like how he's just no selling that Shane got the living shit kicked out of him last week.
Speaking of which, somebody made a weird prediction that I don't like. He said that it's probably going to be Shane and him versus KO and Zayn. I'm like, no. You can't have, if he's going to be at WrestleMania, his comeback WrestleMania match can't be that. That's ludicrous.
I suppose. I mean, on some level, I'm just going to be happy to see him. So,
if you want to have him fight KO or Zayn, have him do one of them, maybe. They don't really have nothing to do. And that would be great because we want to see that match anyway. Because fuck, we were robbed of that shit.
I'm cool easing him back in.
Yeah. I just need to know who they're gonna feed to him first. That's all I want to know is who are they gonna feed to him first. It can't be the Miz, unfortunately, because the Miz already has Rollins and what's his name? Finn Balor. So
waste of a match.
Yeah, and I know they kind of kicking themselves now because had he did this announcement a couple of weeks ago, that match would have been squashed. You know that, right? You know, because it's too far along in the planning. WrestleMania is like right around the corner. They can't squash that match for a turn with Daniel Bryan. But if
I don't agree, they should do it. What is Miz adding to the situation? Every time him, Rollins, and Finn are in a ring together, it seems like it's Finn and Rollins having this feud, and Miz is just like on his ass somewhere, not really being respected as the champion in the situation.
Shit. I mean, he's good. He's good persona-wise for the championship, but it's fucking shit in the ring.
He's not even being presented persona-wise because it's like it feels like just a feud between the two of them. And Miz happens to have a
his feud is I don't get respected, which hey, you don't. you have a good argument, but shit, you're inconsequential to the in-ring dealings.
I guess it's fair. It sort of fits.
But I guess Money in the Bank would be him and Miz because it is funny too because it made me remember somebody put a gift up that made me remember they already have heat anyway because remember when they introduced the different stars during Royal Rumble or so, whatever show that was when they brought everybody out.
Was it Raw's anniversary or something?
Yeah, Raw's anniversary, and like they stared each other down.
Yeah,
like clearly Daniel Bryan has a problem with this dude,
bro. Long-term booking, man. Like,
yeah,
Miz was booking this shit just in his back pocket, just in case. Brian,
right. You're getting healthier, aren't you? He's like, yeah, we need to do this. And he probably was like, yeah, we need to do this.
That's why he's a smart guy, man. He's the only one, booking himself with Brian.
Yeah. People are saying they want to see him Brock. I don't want to see that.
No.
I would never do that match now because Brock isn't safe enough. I'm sorry. Brock doesn't give a fuck. Like it would be different if Brock gave a fuck, but he just sometimes messed up. Brock just don't give a fuck. Like that F5 he gave to Roman last night. I'm like, dude, you really didn't give a fuck, did you? Or like the suplex he threw, it was like it was one of the most laziest suplex. Like you barely cleared him over you. Just like Brock, you really don't give a fuck no more. Seriously.
I wasn't feeling that shit. But in case anybody is confused, we decided to take a quick break from politics this week because we don't want you to shoot yourselves.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad you said that because I forgot to preference this, and I'm going to do that like now in detail. We've decided near the end of last episode, we need a break because last week was hellacious. Well, I would say last week before last. Last week was hellacious though. As well, I just like all of a sudden just screamed out, "I can't talk about this shit no more." We came to an agreement. Yeah, let's just talk about more trivial, relaxing things that aren't necessarily important to the scope of society, but we love to talk about. A lot of you guys, let's be honest, a lot of you guys who found this podcast found it through my YouTube channel, which is nothing but a fucking nerd channel. It's full of shenanigans. And you like hearing both of us talk for some reason. I don't know why you like to hear that guy talk, because
facts.
Godless heathen. But no, but no, we talk about this stuff off. We don't just talk about real, like, serious stuff all the time. We actually sat and had a conversation. One about Overwatch. We also had a conversation yesterday about how I'm an asshole because I sent this man a God of War trailer that he didn't watch. Should have watched because he's afraid of hype. That's going to be the first topic right now. Why don't you want to be on the hype train, sir?
Bro, I'm already on the hype train. I'm at the front of the train while the rest of you assholes are like just boarding. I don't need my hype for like I have my hype already up and now like. So for you guys who are confused about what he's talking about, whenever I decide I want to watch a movie like Infinity War from Marvel coming up or play a game like God of War, the second I get hyped, I completely cut off from it. I don't watch any trailers. I don't look any news. I keep myself as fresh as fucking possible. The second I'm like, I'm going for this shit, a switch goes off in my head and I'm like, all right, we're done. I want to come in with as little knowledge as humanly possible because, well, one, people like my friends and just people in general on social media don't give a fuck about spoilers. And I find that some people who write these articles, I don't know, we're so interested in finding out news about shit that we don't want to keep some of the magic anymore. I see that in like video games where they're just announcing shit that could have waited till like E3 or some special event. God damn it, this guy's wonderful.
I just looked over and saw him doing the yes chat, and I just got chills.
But yeah, my hype is just better maintained than everybody else's. That's all it is.
And you know what? I disagree only slightly in the sense that, although I will say this, I admire you because you are able to close yourself off, and I've never understood how people could close themselves off and not want to see. And I figured out part of my like not being able to understand this because I see too much from the jump. Especially these days, I feel like the way they gear trailers and stuff like that for different media things, they give away a lot before.
Right.
Like, honestly, have you seen the latest Infinity War trailer?
No.
But you know what the biggest like rumor or biggest feeling that's come from it? Because like you said, people don't know how to keep their mouth shut and they spoil shit on Twitter and social media. You know what the big like
I think I saw somebody say somebody was gonna die.
Okay, so you don't know who that person is.
Well, they said it was Cap.
Okay, so you do know. Because basically, if you saw the trailer, there is a moment where there's a confrontation between him and Thanos. And it looks like Thanos is about to get him.
As a matter of fact, it might have been an article because I remember just a screenshot with the Infinity Gauntlet over Captain America, and he's like holding it back.
That's the scene because it's at the end of the trailer. You see him and Cap go at it, and like Cap's trying to keep his hand from touching him, and he's screaming like in agony. It's like okay, so everybody, of course, the first reaction to everybody is Cap's dead, Cap's dead, Cap's dead. I'm like, okay, that's a likely assumption from that scene. But the thing is, you don't really know that that's going to happen. What if it's the swerve or anything like that? But people take way too much time trying to break down and guess things. And that's the thing that that's why I guess maybe I'm kind of numb to trailers. Like you can show me anything, I'm still going to go see it. You can tell me the plot right now, and if it's something I really want to see, I'm still going to see it because I'm still going to look at it from my own perspective and judge it on my own basis. Give a fuck about what you say or how you frame it. I want to see this shit. Your opinion doesn't matter until after I've seen it, and I can, there's some cases where, like with the Star Wars thing, with the sound thing, I kind of was in anticipation of that moment because people built it up around me so much. And then I was just like, really? Is this what y'all fucking upset about? And that's my thing. I'm generally on the side where I don't agree with the like rumors and opinions. So I guess that's why I don't care to hear them because I discount them until I've actually involved myself with the material.
I was about to bring up Star Wars as a good example because when of this recent series, when the first one came out, they didn't really tell you much about anything. They didn't tell you the story. The trailer was pretty not very revealing. Like I love the way that they did that because it was like they got you hyped for Star Wars, but they didn't. I went into that movie not knowing what the fuck was going to happen. Didn't know shit about the characters. Didn't know where the story was going at all. And not every movie does that. I feel like what was it, like Batman versus Superman or some shit. There was like a lot that got revealed in that, to the point where it's like I'm not even really that interested in watching it at one point, and it wasn't that good in any case. So I know you see that a lot. You see these like breakdown trailers where people will take like 15 minutes breaking down a trailer, catching all the Easter eggs and all that shit. I'm like, that's fun if I was to do that on my own, but I don't know. I want to keep my mind a little more fresh than that.
Because even if I do know what the exact story is, how do I know you're going to tell it well? At least it's like nobody. And I said this when we were talking last week about the Tomb Raider trailer that came out. How, like I was telling you, how there's a new trailer coming, but everybody knows what the release date is because somebody hacked into the website's code. You know, they hacked into the HTML code and sussed out the release date from it before the trailer came out with the release date, which was spot on. It's just like, I tweeted this before I talked to you. Nobody likes mystery and likes to be surprised anymore. Like everybody feels like they need to know everything or be the person to break something, break a story, give the scoop before something happens. It's like, yo, fucking let that shit happen. Like, there's a lot of, like with E3, there's a lot of stuff with E3 that you see that you be like, oh yeah, we already heard about that because rumors said this, rumors said that. It kind of makes it like not as cool. Like, yeah, I can get hyped because even if I know that something might be coming, seeing it gets me happy. At the same time, I'm more excited. Like with nobody knew Red Dead was coming. Everybody kept begging for Red Dead. And then when Rockstar finally showed the Red Dead thing on their own time, when they were ready and decided to say, yeah, we are doing the Red Dead, everybody fucking, the roof blew off. Everybody was so fucking happy and excited. And it was crazy. Of course, after that, they started doing the rumor mills and stuff like that and breaking down. But it was like the fact that you got that moment where you were like, oh, shit. Or just like with The Last of Us 2. Everybody was saying they should make The Last of Us 2, sure. But we ain't thinking The Last of Us 2 was going to come anytime soon. Because, hey, they just did fucking Uncharted 4. And they're doing Uncharted, Lost Legacy. They ain't doing no Last of Us 2. And then, boom, Last of Us 2 trailer. Oh, shit. You know what I mean? I love the old shit moments, but you don't get those old shit moments as much anymore because either people are already finding shit out before it comes out, or when they actually do reveal certain things, they reveal way too much.
Yep, it's and I get it. It's fun to theorize. I do a little bit too, but within some kind of bounds. I mean, shit. Like I don't want to try to guess every line in the movie before.
We could theorize and like speculate what certain things are going to be about, but we're not digging into code and fucking like looking into like cryptic meanings of what people say and all that. No, it's just like with Star Wars. Me and my boy Prodigy, we did a thing with the first Star Wars movie, and we made our theories and stuff like that. Of course, a lot of those theories didn't come out to be true because we did a theory cast too.
That's why.
But we speculated without knowing of any further material. We just were making our own guesses and assumptions. That's fun, but actually fucking digging in and all that and trying to grab stuff to legitimize your theories is fucking lame.
So sometimes it might be a petty point on my part, but one of the things that gets me is you get these, fan theories or whatever, and sometimes they're a little too good. Like they're so good that it's kind of disappointing if they don't happen. Yeah,
that's true. That is very true. Because it kind of does hype you and build you like, yo, that would be the coolest thing in the world when this happens.
Especially because, sometimes they're very convincing too, because they're really trying to push it. This is totally possible. They have all this evidence. They're breaking down trailers and then they're getting you all hyped. And it's like, it's not like what really happens is all that bad. It just seems bad in comparison to this random idea somebody spent like all day coming up with. It must suck if you're like writing a movie and you like read on the internet somebody's fan theories and you're like, man, I wish I would have did that, but that's not what's up.
All right. Oh shit, Rusev Day versus Nakamura.
That's his name now, Rusev Day.
I mean, look at his trunks, dog.
Why is he over like that?
He should be. I love fucking Rusev. I've always
no, I
loved
mean he's
Rusev.
great, but like he's not winning. He's not doing anything, and yet he's just over.
It's the like weird, strange like way wrestling is today. And again, I blame Smarks. I always have blamed Smarks since this era has started in wrestling, where and I guess this kind of like folds into the conversation we're just having now. It's like people know too much. People are so wanting to know so much. It's like the way wrestling is looked at now. Everybody knows what's going to happen before it happens. You know, all the rumors and things like that come out. You know, back sources, stuff is exposed without any care of trying to hide things. It's like, again, a friend of mine made a very good point about the fucking Daniel Bryan thing. Why would WWE fucking post that? Knowing that if you would have did that during SmackDown, you would have had the biggest news story in the world. Now, it's a big news story still, but just think how monumental that would be if you saw Daniel Bryan come out. You're thinking, okay, they're going to do a spot where the commissioner comes out or the head of the show comes out, and then somebody probably runs in. You know, typical WWE stuff. This is how they're going to set up a match. And then he just dropped like, you know, yo, I'm back. I've been cleared and I'm ready to go. Do you know how fucking crazy that crowd would have went? You know how crazy I would have, like, we all would have went if we were watching the show at that moment?
Yeah, I guess I've always like fantasized that if he ever came back, he would just be all of a sudden he'd give a running knee to somebody and then pick up that mic and say that shit.
Like you could have like sold that moment as like a fucking like crazy good storyline jump off, but no, you blew that hype. But it's like,
I'll say in their defense that maybe they were motivated to get their ratings up because I know they haven't been great
that's
for a while. So I can see that they might have said, all right, everybody, like Brian, sometimes it's easy to forget, but he is really fucking popular. So they could have seen this as an opportunity to drive viewership over there to spike their ratings for a second.
Yeah, because I haven't watched SmackDown in over a month, and I legit have not turned the channel. Normally, I'll peek in for 10 minutes and turn.
I know they had like one good show. I can't remember which one it was over the last few weeks that got some good ratings, but other than that, they've been SmackDown in particular, especially, has been struggling with that. So I can see why they. I still agree that it would have been better to make it a surprise, but given the position they're in, I can also see why they might have wanted to do it the way they did.
Yeah. But no, I mean, it just...
Of course, if they did a better show, they wouldn't have to worry about that.
Exactly. That's the thing. It's like, the, like, being surprised, it seems to be a lost art form anymore because everybody wants to expose everything as soon as possible. It's like,
yeah, there's, I don't know, I look at stuff like Netflix where, you know, you have a series and they'll just give you the entire season in one shot. There's no just desire to just get things slowly, build them up, have that surprise. People like freak out when they have to wait like a week for a show. And I'm like, hey, that's how it used to be all the time. You get
I know. Like, I like what Netflix does, but at the same time, I don't mind waiting. And I also notice, like, with other you know, services that don't do the whole season thing at that time, we get legit mad at them for making us wait until next week to see what happens now. And it's like, should you be mad? I mean, the fact that you're going to sit here and watch, like with Netflix shows, something like the Marvel shows, you're looking at between, 45 minutes a show? So you mean to tell me that in a, like, what's generally a like 12, 13 episode run, you're gonna sit there for fucking 13 hours? You're that pressed that you want to see that whole 13 hours right then and there? Don't you guys sit to do?
I mean, I do that shit, so I can't talk. But
no, but I mean, I understand binge watching because there's times that I binge watch, but I think we're way too into binge watching. To where like
the default.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to watch. It's like I know people, and it's funny because I'm kind of one of those people because I'm doing it right now. I watched the first 2 episodes of Black Lightning, and I haven't watched it since. And my mentality has been, I'll just watch that shit when it's done now. When I shouldn't, I should catch up and then watch it as it's going. Like, why don't I watch it as it's going along? At least like the day after DVR or something like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I'm willing to sit there and watch a whole fucking season in like a day or two. It's dumb.
I enjoy watching this stuff weekly because it gives me something to look forward to. You know, especially when I'm having like a bad day, I can be like, hey, it's fucking Wednesday or whatever. It's just shit is coming on today. Like it spaces out my shit for me in such a way that I have shit to look forward to at different days throughout the week. Yeah, I read comics. Some of these comics I read are like monthly, and like they get me hyped for like a month, and then sometimes they don't deliver. But
yeah, no, I remember when I was reading comics. That was one of the favorite things, knowing that at whatever week they usually release, I was going to get this, and then the next week, X-Men, next week, Batman, next week, Spider-Man. That it was cool. It gave you, but now it's just like, oh, Jessica Jones season 2 is, and it's funny because now I've gotten to the point where I'm not even inclined to watch as soon as it comes out because it's already all there. I don't have, whenever I choose to hit play, all of Jessica Jones is there. So do I really need to watch it when it first comes out? No.
I know I didn't watch like Black Mirror for a little while when it came out. So I got all the time in the world. Plus, when it came out, I binged it. So
yeah, fun fact: I still haven't finished the season 2 of Stranger Things. It's not going nowhere.
So you're better than me.
I mean, but it's not going nowhere, and it's all there. It's not like you're gonna feel like fuck if I don't watch it. I don't know what happened. It's not like again Black Lightning. If I picked up Black Lightning on the day that it comes on, I'm lost as fuck. I'm not lost as fuck on the Netflix show because it's already fucking there. It's all I could fucking catch up right there.
Yeah, it's nice and easy. I don't know. It's probably not, well, health-wise, it's probably not great because I feel like a lot of people binge, and I've been the fucking worst. I watched an anime called One Piece, and when I was like in high school, but they have like hundreds of episodes, and it was either high school or like early college. I decided to catch up. Like they were like 500 episodes in, and I just binged it during the summer. And I mean, like I would wake up, watch the episodes, like stop only for like bathroom breaks, like fall asleep next to the computer, and then wake up and start the episode again and keep going for like days. That shit was a golden age, but it's not great. And I wouldn't do it now. Shit.
On a side note, 2 questions. One, why is Aiden naming the show White? Like, has this man never seen Sun? I know he's from like the Chicago area or something like that, but good Lord, son, there's Sun. I mean, second, why is he so bald? He's not that old. Like, male pattern baldness has really killed him.
Bruh. Why are you such a dick? That's the third question, all right? This dude is just trying to live his life.
We will cover that later. We can cover if you want that to be a subject topic.
This dude is just trying to live his life, and you're out here like, what's with this pale, bald motherfucker in the room?
Oh, you should have saw my thread earlier about this video that somebody I know posted about Sea of Thieves. It was an epic thread because I had a lot of questions to be answered for that.
I noticed you had a thread, and I'm like, this shit is long. And I have a meeting in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, and it was all about a video that somebody I know posted based on a joke he was making about Sea of Thieves. But I watched the video, and I just was like perplexed by a lot of things in it. So I did a 5-question thread where I really broke down a lot of things. That's my problem. I do that with a lot of shit. I hate that. I hate that my mind is so active and like it has that many questions in it. I mean, long story short, the video was some like whack ass rapper I guess he's a YouTube rapper. I don't know. 5 years ago he put out a video called "Give Me the Booty," and it's basically the theme of the video is him like just wearing a pirate hat and like patch, being a fake ass hood pirate, and the hook is "Treat me like a pirate girl, give me that booty." And it's just the fucking worst song in the world. There's a guy in the video who raps that looks like Pootie Tang. It's awful. He has like random girls just shaking their ass. Like, did you just ask somebody in your neighborhood to like just twerk for $100? Like, what the fuck is going on here? I had a lot of questions and like curiosities about what the fuck was going on. So I did a whole thread about it.
I did notice that question actually, because it made me think too. I'm like, how is it that these people always manage to afford these girls? And they're not like ugly girls most of the time. They're like that they're reasonable looking girls, and they get.
No, I mean there were a couple of them were like fine as shit.
How do they afford? I guess it doesn't cost that. I don't know. Maybe you should just like go to a store one day and just say, "Can I get anybody to twerk for like $50 or something?" and see what happens.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering because it was like
it might not be as expensive as you think.
That's what I was wondering. Like, what is the threshold here? Like, I mean, when you look at these dudes, you could tell that these were like, horrible rappers. The whole setup, the whole premise. It was like I had a question about the director. I was like, what does this director say? Like, is this video on his resume? Like, do you claim to be the director of Give Me That Booty?
So, I mean, it went viral, so you could.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, mind you, it got 2 million video views, so you might want to be proud. But just imagine, like, again, I asked this in the thread. What if you're Ryan Coogler? Do you claim this? Seriously, like, you're a critically acclaimed filmmaker right now. You're 3 for 3, and you're probably going to be 4 for 4, even though the like storyline for Creed 2 is kind of fucking ridiculous. I guarantee you that's going to be a hit movie. It's going to be a really good movie, even with the ridiculous storyline. That being said, do you fess up to like, yeah, so my start was this video called Give Me That Booty. A couple of friends of mine asked me to direct. No, do you?
I guess it depends on whether you want to show how far you've come or if you want to look like you've always been amazing.
And see, I kind of lean to like I kind of lean to the one to show how far I come, but that's a long way to come from. If you haven't seen this video, I highly recommend it. If you guys follow me on Twitter at Black Vegas to look at that shit, because that video is ass.
That Coogler guy must be on top of the world. Like,
I wish at 31 I was where he was. Shit. Good Lord. The fact that when Black Panther 2 is brought up, he can write his off that shit.
You know what? I'm going to write a Static Shock movie and pitch it to Marvel. Fuck it.
At this point, speaking of which, because we
also didn't catch the joke, Static is DC.
Yeah, no. Because it just reminded me, it made me remember some news. We're going to throw in some news stuff too, but it's not going to be about like that stuff. It's going to be entertainment only. What do you think about Ava DuVernay doing New Gods?
I didn't see that.
Oh, you didn't know? Yeah, it was announced earlier last week that they're talking to her to do New Gods because apparently, when in an interview about comic book movies or something or comic books in general, she actually mentioned her favorite character was Big Barda, and she likes the New Gods universe. Yeah. Her favorite comic book character.
You're a fucking nerd then.
Exactly. Because when I saw that, I was like, I love you, Ava, because who the fuck cares about Big Barda?
I mean, the New Gods, like Apocalypse, that whole part of DC, like, if you even know about that, you're a fucking nerd.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I mean, I know about Big Barda because I'm 80s, that was a big thing. I'm a fucking old geek. Of course I know who Big Barda is. But it's like, yo, your favorite character is fucking Big Barda. You're real, Ava. Like you're not just pretending to be about this life. This is your life.
So, who the fuck is gonna be Mr. Miracle then?
That's the thing. They're talking about doing a Mr. Miracle movie, maybe, like outside of this. But he should be in the fucking New Gods because that's where he came from.
So,
but it's like all types of questions because it's funny because I was listening to a podcast. One person floated like, "Fuck, if she gets that movie, she should just piss everybody off and cast Oprah as Granny Goodness."
oh my, you know what's sad is I was actually thinking about that. Like,
they're like, just make fucking Oprah Granny.
Oh my god! So this New Gods project, it's a movie.
Yeah, they're talking about doing a New Gods fucking movie.
DC is talking about doing
yes,
a New Gods?
Warner Brothers are negotiating with Ava DuVernay to do a New Gods movie. Legit.
The same DC who has only like successfully done Wonder Woman so far.
Exactly. And wouldn't it be funny that their second successful movie being done by another woman? Also, they're talking to her about giving her over $100 million budget, which means she would be the first woman to have 2 $100+ budget movies under her belt, budget-wise.
I just can't wrap my head. Like, this feels fucking bold. Like,
yeah,
I imagine most people who hear about this movie probably might not even recognize it as a DC thing.
Yeah. Because when you say New Gods, you don't really think about that. But no, like, again, me and you being nerds, we know that's Apocalypse, that's fucking Darkseid. It's a movie about Darkseid and which relates to, I guess you could say relates to Justice League since Steppenwolf was in it.
I guess.
But nobody would make 2 and 2 into 4 off of the name of the property or like the history of the property.
They would have to make some clear references in their trailers because I just don't sense most people would understand that connection. Which again, I'm not trying to shit on DC. I really hope they do awesome, but their movies have not mostly been knockout movies.
No, they've been shit.
A bit. It was one thing when Marvel did like Ant-Man or even Black Panther or all these movies, but they've established themselves so they could do a Squirrel Girl movie and people are gonna fucking watch that.
Yeah, because they'll do it right.
I hope this New Gods thing goes well. I'm just surprised that we would go there.
If they do agree to this and they do it, I think it will go right. One, because she's a fan. She's already like hooked on the material. So she's probably, as a fan, you would hope that she would want to do it right. And 2, even though people have had mixed feelings about A Wrinkle in Time in all, things considered, she's done well with that movie. I mean, that movie's making killer money. And it's a movie property that's been called the Unmakeable movie. And she's done enough to where it came from, like, apparently the original TV movie that was put out that everybody thought was horrible. She's at least getting kind of like, at bare minimum, 50-50. Like, people like it or people don't like it. It's not bad to the point where people are just like, yo, she fucked up. You know what I mean? It's like people are still blaming the material more than they're blaming her. So, if anything, it's a win for her because it's like, yo, you took something that people thought that couldn't be good, and you actually made a good fair amount of people like it.
I mean, if she does this, it is a good opportunity for her because if she can make New Gods work for the casual viewer base, it will be quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, because the premise, the whole back-laying story, especially from a comic book thing, even, is not that enthralling unless you're indoctrinated in the DC universe enough to want to care about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's never hooked me that much. It's mildly interesting, but
yeah, it's like an aside.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. Bold move there, DC. Expect my Static Shock thing coming soon. Yeah, I'm not gonna write Mr. Miracle. That's not my shit.
But speaking of which, they're talking about doing also a Booster Gold movie.
Bruh.
Which I kind of wouldn't mind because honestly, Booster Gold is easy to do because all you gotta do is just do it in the vein of Deadpool. Just make it a fucking like comedy because Booster Gold is a fucking comedy.
Skeets would be great, man. It'd be an excuse to bring in a original Blue Beetle, not like Jaime Reyes. Like,
yeah, because you have a buddy movie.
Yeah, Their buddy shit is great. They're wonderful friends.
Yeah, I remember. It's funny because you probably have never read it, but late 80s, early 90s Justice League stuff with Blue Beetle and Booster Gold in it. It's fucking hilarious. And then you threw in Guy Gardner as like the rogue Earth Green Lantern. It's fucking dumb. Justice League Europe was fucking like, it had a short run, but it was comedic gold to me.
If this New God shit doesn't work, let's just do Flashpoint and let's start over.
Sorry, not Justice League Europe, Justice League America, the way they had it with Blue Beetle and them.
Yeah.
Although Justice League Europe was pretty damn funny too.
Just do the New Gods. If it doesn't work, Flashpoint it. Fuck it.
They're gonna have to Flashpoint it. I honestly think that's all, because like I honestly think the Flash movie is going to be Flashpoint, and it's going to be horrible, but it's going to do what it needs to do, which is to blow up the fucking universe and reset it. Because the only way they can do the reset is if they stop making movies for a couple of years, and you know they're not going to do that. You know what I mean? They're not going to take it like 3 to 5 year break.
And they shouldn't. That would be kind of... Yeah. Unless they want to take that break after Flash. I don't know.
No, because if Flashpoint pulls off what it needs to do, they're going to keep going. But like I said, because it would be stupid because you basically threw out like, yeah, none of the shit you saw before matters. Now we're going to give you good stuff. You know what I mean?
It would be funny as shit though, because it would be funny if they had to pull off the same shit they had to do in the comics. Like, wow, you didn't learn that, because Flashpoint wasn't that long ago, so it's like you didn't learn that lesson.
Honestly, I was just thinking maybe they should do like what they did with the like New 52. Just fucking have like the ridiculousness of goddamn what's his name from The Watchmen. Just fucking like
Dr. Manhattan, yeah.
Yeah, just have him rewrite the entire space-time continuum, and then boom. Like,
I mean,
because at this point you're at a point where that ridiculousness would be fine because everybody just needs you to do something.
I was gonna say the Watchmen movie was really good, so like
it was.
I wouldn't mind if you pulled it into the new DC cinematic universe, because it was really well done for a comic movie. Like,
yeah, it was.
People might forget about it, but it was fucking great.
No, it was like one of the like that and 300 are Zack Snyder's good movies. They are. Those are his good movies. He could always say, like, as much shit as he takes, he could always say, at least I made 2 good movies that made great money.
I mean, good on that. I just want to watch that fucking movie again. It was really good.
Yeah, I do too. Although I will say this, my only gripe with that is, of course, Blue Dick.
Blue Dick.
Yeah, the Blue Dick was just too much. Come on. It's like, it's one thing to show a guy's genitalia, but the glowing blue dick was just way overboard. Huh?
Why are you hating, bro? He has a blue dick.
I don't need, like, I don't want dick in my life anyway. I'd be damned if I want radioactive dick. Come on.
That speech at the end that like he gives to Ozymandias story. You know, you're just a man. If you guys haven't seen that movie, go back and watch. That shit is great. Like, some of the dialogue's just fucking incredible.
Yeah, no, that you get feels from some of the things that they say, some of the moments in the movie, and just like, man, my man Rorschach, god damn it.
That's he was. I like a couple weeks ago, like it came up on my YouTube, but I watched that scene over and over and over again. Whoever that actor was, he was fucking great. I haven't seen him in that many movies, but
you probably have. It's just not knowingly. Because it's funny, he was a child actor who kind of went bad and like got redeemed by that movie. Because have you seen any of the new Friday the 13th movies?
No,
I mean not Friday the 13th, but Nightmare. Like, did you see the new Nightmare on Elm Street?
Nah.
That's he's Freddy.
Oh.
Yeah, no, oh gosh, his last name's Haley. I can't think his first name, but
the point is, watch that fucking movie. It's good.
Yeah. No.
Better than Justice League.
Like, it's funny because I know a lot of people who would shit on Watchmen, and I honestly think Watchmen gets retroactively shit upon because after Watchmen came Sucker Punch, and that's when fucking Zack Snyder went way off the rails. Like that's when his super nosedive started to happen. I think that movie gets shitted on because Zack Snyder is, he sucks. But a lot of people forget he did 300, which was a good movie. He did Watchmen, which was a good movie. It was a really good adaptation of something that shouldn't have been that well adapted, in my opinion.
That was surprisingly well.
Yeah. No, he did a great job with that. And like the casting was great. Everything was done great. Like fucking that movie was awesome. I need to watch that movie again. I haven't seen it in a long time.
So that's the plan. Fucking flashpoint the current DC cinematic universe and then make Dr. Manhattan bring it back.
Flashpoint it, like fucking kick Zack Snyder. He's already been kind of ejected, but just make it known he will never do another DC movie again. That will please people. And just start doing like Marvel. I mean, I hear people bemoan how everybody's trying to compare Marvel to DC. And I don't think it's people comparing Marvel to DC. It's just that Marvel has done a good job of how they went about things. They started rough, but then they got the shit together and came across a game plan. And they started to be more attentive to what they need to do. They started to curate the directors and the writers and kind of like talk to them and figure like, are you a part of this? Like how we're trying to do this cohesive thing. And are you comfortable with this? Are you able to do this? Like they've taken their whole like cinematic universe to serious at a level that they want to make sure they put out the best, like the most well-presented material that will not only appeal to the hardcore, but will give general movie viewers something to watch that they can digest and understand without, kind of shitting on the hardcore. They found that like happy medium. DC doesn't seem to want to try to find a happy medium. It's like, yo, you need to curate your directors. You need to find out what their vision of this is. And you need to find out if you're comfortable with letting them do what they want to do. DC wants to have way too much control. They want to streamline things and funnel things through like just one scope. Whereas with Marvel, it's like, yeah, there's an overlying, like there's been this overlying feed into Infinity War. But if you look at the movies that have come out, like Ant-Man, that was his own thing. Black Panther, that's his own thing. Doctor Strange, that's his own thing. Even Thor, they gave Thor the leeway with Ragnarok to be its own thing. It's like, yeah, we're committed to getting to this one big moment, but they figured it out eventually that, yeah, this one big moment should be funneled through maybe one or two different series, and like the rest just be like to introduce you to people who will be integrated into this thing and not just tunnel vision towards this one moment. And it's like, by doing that, they've made it so with Infinity War, you're like, fucking yeah, because you're going to get everybody who have been given their own proper space, but this is what they're doing, And
then everybody's going to die and we're going to get the next generation. And
not everybody's going to die.
Everybody. And then, we get Miles, we get Kamala.
Nah,
everybody will bitch about SJW.
One is too soon for Petey to go. Although I will say this, in the second Spider-Man movie, you probably will get introduced to Miles.
I'm bothered by that.
Huh?
Honestly, too young, man.
Huh?
The current Peter is too young.
No, but I feel like it kind of maybe like can be done if they do it right. They kind of do it like, he runs into this kid in the streets while he saves, and this kid's like a devoted Spider-Man fan who eventually, once you get to Spider-Man 3 or 4, he's grown. You know what I mean? I could see that happen.
Okay,
like
so it's not that he becomes the next Spider-Man during that next movie. He's just...
No, it's just that he exists in the universe.
Okay.
Because that's what I'm saying. Marvel seems to do smart things. It's like Black Panther. They entirely based and dedicated Black Panther to Black Panther. They did not try to make, because we know that Wakanda is going to be a key element in Infinity War, but by no means did they do anything overtly to connect that. But at the spoilers for people who haven't seen Black Panther, and if you haven't seen it by now, fuck you. You should have said it 2 times like me and Cardiac by now. Okay? You
slipped. A few movies I've ever watched twice.
Fucking slip. It's the only movie. It's the only movie in my life that I've paid for twice.
It might be mine too.
I've never I've seen movies multiple times, but I've never went to the theater multiple times.
I've never gone to the theater to do it.
A movie.
Because my slacking coworkers hadn't seen it yet, and I didn't want to be the asshole who went home early, so saw it twice.
Yeah, no, it's the only movie that I've seen paid to see, gone to see twice in the theater.
Yeah, but if they have a long-term plan, they wait till Peter's older. Fine. I just don't want a teen Peter and a Miles in diapers.
Yeah, because like I was saying with the Black Panther thing, you didn't know that it was necessarily connected until the second cut scene at the end where they show the White Wolf, the Winter Soldier. It's like, oh yeah, they did have something in Civil War where they helped these people out. They are connected. It was like they did not try to go balls out. I would say the only thing in movie that they did was Ross. Ross was the only fucking connection that made you remember, oh yeah, he was in Civil War. Otherwise, it was just about the Black Panther. It's like Doctor Strange was just about Doctor Strange until the cutscene.
Doctor Strange, what a dick. I was just thinking about his appearance in Ragnarok, where he's just teleporting Thor all over the place. That shit. But
gotta love a man who doesn't really have his own hands.
Infinity War hype. To step away from the comic books for at least a second, have you seen the trailer for this fucking, what is this thing called? Something Player One? Ready Player One?
Yes, I've heard of this book for years. And there's been a huge debate over it.
What is the debate?
Well, the debate is this going to really suck? Because I've heard people who say the book was magical, but other people's like, it's really okay, but how do you take all these licenses and use them? Because the overarching story really is about the licenses, but you get this feeling that everybody's all about who are they going to show? Are they going to show Batman? Are they going to show Mario? Are they going to show? And it's like you got to pay homage to the fan service the book do, but is the story really good? You know what I mean? It's like I feel like a lot of people's opinions that I know or that I've listened to in podcasts, their whole premise is, yeah, it's a great fan service book, but the story really isn't that good.
Honestly, the fan service is what turns me off the most. When I saw that trailer and I saw all the pop culture spasming all over the fucking place, that alone made me not want to watch that fucking movie.
And that's the thing. That's the heart of the book. Is this guy's just writing this story where he can pop in his fantasy moments where I meet Batman, I meet fucking Link or shit you know what I mean?
Yeah. I must have seen the trailer for that when I went to see Black Panther the second time or something, and I see Iron Giant and all these random things, and I'm like, this is, you call me a nerd because you're an asshole, but let's say that I am a nerd. This is what I don't like about
He's a nerd. You're fucking programming, you nerd.
This extreme fixation on nostalgia and just pop culture references all over the place. It's too fucking much, man. I don't know. Just seeing that trailer and seeing all those familiar faces was the biggest turnoff imaginable.
Yeah, there's one podcast I always mention on here, the Nerdpocalypse. The one guy who read it on their thing, he was saying kind of the same thing that you said, because he read it. He was like, yeah, it's an okay book, but it's how the fuck you gonna fit all that stuff? It's just too like a geek out moment. It just feels too much like a geek out moment for a nerd who grew up with all this stuff, who just wanted to write a book where he could have a person like interact with all the stuff that he loved as a kid.
Yeah.
But it's
I like little subtle things. You know, you might see like something in the background that's like a reference to that. That's all good, but like I don't know, if this is common with every generation, but I feel like the desire to satiate one's nostalgia from like 90s shit forward is just extreme. Like,
no, it's a generational thing because I'm sure if I went back and thought about older movies, there probably is an older movie that bleeds back into that old nostalgia of, say, like I was born in the 70s, so I'm sure there's some movies where somebody romanticized the 50s and the 60s and things like that. You know what I mean?
Well, my thought is that, around the late 80s, 90s, throughout then, like, technology was moving faster. You got a lot, like I was born in the 90s, so if you see all the cartoons that came out around that time, I think it's just the sheer number because the technology had been increasing at that point.
Yeah, and because also I think like it's more prevalent to you because a lot of what happened when I grew up still exists, whereas before I was born, a lot of that stuff wasn't necessarily kept or archived or preserved as well as it is now because of the technology. It's like we watch Scooby-Doo still today, even though Scooby-Doo was a late 70s, early 80s thing that I watched when I was like fucking 6 years old. But for you, it's a more fresher thing because they made a bigger effort, I guess, to save and preserve a lot of that stuff. Is like when I look back the stuff that came out in the 50s and things like that, like the things that are the most preserved are like I Love Lucy, Leave It to Beaver. There's like a handful of shows, but I'm sure there was a ton more shows that people cared about that aren't really noticed. Where now I could turn on Boomerang and see damn near everything I watched on like a Saturday morning in numerous different time periods in my life.
I really liked I Love Lucy.
Yeah, I do too. I Love Lucy is awesome.
You know a fucked up thing? Like when I was growing up watching that shit, I didn't even know she was a redhead for like a long time.
Yeah,
because it was in black and white back then.
Yeah,
so
a lot of people didn't realize that, but it's like it is funny because you know when I discovered that she did a show after I Love Lucy called Lucy.
Right.
And it was her and the lady who played her best friend. It was their show. And that was like their first time in color. And it was like, whoa, wait.
I think that's where I started too. Like I remember feeling so stupid that I'd seen so much of that show and just never knew that she was a redhead.
Yeah, no. But it is funny because if you went through if you ever read history on her, that was one of the big things that people loved about her back in that era. It's like, oh, she's the most lovable redhead and all that. It's like, oh, she's redhead? Really? News to be, because that shit looks like brown as far as I'm concerned. Like maybe it was, it could have been gray for all we cared because it's black and white.
I don't know, but that nostalgia shit, it grosses me out. It's, no offense to Nintendo fans, but it's one of the issues I take with Nintendo a lot, where it's just this constant trying to feed. And I get the appeal to nostalgia. It's not like I hate nostalgia and I never want to see old shit, but it just gets pushed so far.
It's funny you brought that up because I was thinking about that with video games. I don't know what I was watching. It was like a really slow period at work, and I was reading something, and maybe I was on Twitter, and somebody brought up nostalgia shit, and I laughed because as someone who grew up basically surrounding Nintendo, the NES, SNES, that was my heyday. And I always say those were some of the greatest games of my life. And I will always say that because, yeah, nostalgia is, and I know nostalgia is the reason I say that, because it was just, for me, more of the time and the place and the era, and to know that this was like a period where gaming was starting to get to the point where it's like, at now where we're finally seeing the, gaming reached the point where it's a super, and I'll get into that a little later because I wanted to mention that too. But it's now a super acceptable medium, kind of like how in the early '80s, rap was kind of like this taboo, all about people who were a part of the culture. But then the '90s hit, and it's like rap went mainstream, and like everybody started to love rap, and that's when rap blew the charts off and finally gained its acceptance because it became a mainstream thing. You know, that's what I feel like. The whole Twitch stream thing where the player played with Drake and the football player and all that. I feel like that's the moment where we know, like, yeah, gaming is now completely a legitimate thing in society, like where people can't question whether or not this is a real, cared about part of the way of our culture. But I feel like also though, when we go to nostalgia, it's no matter what era we're in, we tend not to try to look at things reasonably or realistically because we're still caught up in the moment of how we felt when it was happening. Like, what was the game I was thinking about? I remember somebody bringing up The Witcher 3 on something I was listening to. And this one guy was like, he didn't really care for The Witcher 3, but everybody else was like, you're crazy. It's one of the greatest games in the world. I was like, you know what? Witcher 3 is really, really good. It's really, really great. It's a great game. But it reminded me of the conversation me and you had about Uncharted, the first one. Like, you're playing Uncharted right now.
Just
you're having issues.
Actually, yeah.
You finished it?
Yeah.
All right. What is your overall thought of it?
I'd give it like a C+. You know, it's older. It's like 10 years old. So it reminded me of how far we've come.
It's actually closing in on 11 years.
Oh yeah. I remember thinking the story was somewhat lackluster. I felt like I was spending most of my time shooting motherfuckers with a little cutscene every once in a while. There wasn't much there, which is not to shit on the game, because the reason I brought up the age was just to show, like, I think that's just kind of where the games were at that time. It's more linear. It's not open world. It's good for what it was at the time.
Yeah, and to see me, I'm a huge Uncharted fan. I love fucking Nathan Drake. I love the world, everything. And I remember I got that game in 2009, so it wasn't that long after it came out. And I saw reviews for it. It's funny because I got it because it came with the controller. I wanted an extra controller when I got my PlayStation 3. And Best Buy just happened to have this sale where you can get a controller for $60, and they gave you Uncharted Drake's Fortune for free. I was like, oh, psh. Well, why wouldn't I do that? I'm gonna get a free game with a controller, extra controller. Bet, fuck it, you know. So I went all in on that deal. That being said, I played it and I was like really, really loving it. But you know, as time gone on, I've looked at it realistically, and I think that's a lot of things. A lot of what we can't do when it comes to nostalgia is look at things realistically, because, that game, like I was saying to you, was it earlier today or yesterday? That camera's shit.
Oh yeah, rough.
Rough as fuck. Like looking at the way gaming has evolved, that camera's fucked up as shit. Furthermore, the control scheme, like you're blessed. Because you actually played good Uncharted controls, because a lot of people don't realize this, is that when they did the Drake collection, they consciously said, fuck Uncharted 1 and 2's control scheme. We're going to use 3 and 4's control scheme because that's just actually decent and good. So it controls a lot better for you, but if you had played it in its initial form, fucking controls were like janky. I mean, it was cool, but there was a lot of jank to those controls. So you had jank controls on top of that horrible camera. Just imagine that. Okay. So, and like I said to you, to me, Naughty Dog's weakness has always been cameras because, again, going back, nostalgia, Crash Bandicoot. Everybody loves Crash Bandicoot. Everybody loves Jackson Daxter. These cameras are horrible. That's a horrible fucking platforming camera.
Yeah.
But, we love the game, so we kind of excuse it and we kind of get offended when people say it. But I'm not one of those people who like nostalgia beholds them to just hold this thing that I love up on a pedestal. Or it's just like I was listening to a podcast and they were asking this question: what games do you think made the biggest impact to you or meant the most to you in your life? And one person mentioned, he was like, I know you guys don't really like Final Fantasy VII, but I feel like Final Fantasy VII was one of those games. And they were like realistically saying, no, we get it. Like looking back on it now, it's not a good game. The story is kind of kind of like dumb and all of that. And we kind of shit on it now, but we knew what it meant when it came out because Final Fantasy VII was one of those games that was kind of transcendent in gaming. It was like one of the earlier PS1 games. It was one of the games that actually showed you how expansive games could be as far as storytelling and the depths that you can go and like how you can kind of start pushing limits and start building to where we are graphically and things like that.
Yeah.
And it was a spectacle. It was a showpiece of what gaming can be and, where games can head. It was a standout for its time. Sure, it didn't age well, but yeah, and they were like, no, we totally understand why it has the impact. It's just that we appreciate that you have the reality that, yeah, it's not the best, it's not the bee's knees now, but for its time or for what it did, it was fucking amazing. And you're not, you know what I mean?
So let me ask you, do you think like original Mario, like the side-scrolling platformer, best game of all time?
No.
I've seen people make that argument a lot. And it's like, you have to respect Mario for everything it's done. It is like one of the most recognizable things in gaming, in pop culture ever. But I remember seeing a video where a bunch of people made that argument. Like, are you out of your fucking mind? Are you thinking like 30 years we haven't been able to make one game better than that?
And see, they would hate me because since Super Mario Brothers came out, I've hated fucking Mario. I never thought those games were that great. I thought Super Mario Brothers 3 was a step in the right direction. And a lot of people consider Super Mario Brothers 3 the culmination of perfection of Mario. Me personally, I think Mario actually truly hit his stride on the SNES with Super Mario World. That was the only Mario game that I could bring myself to play to completion. The rest, they're all right.
They're good and they
but
did what they
for
did.
that time, I understand because, like, again, when the NES came out, we'd never seen a console on that level. Like, we had Atari and Commodore 64 and Amiga. Those, while like Amiga and Commodore had better graphics than the Atari, games were very, very basic, and the depths of games weren't that high. Like, it was true pixelated gaming. It was like, you didn't even care about frames. It was all about the pixel movement, to be quite honest. Whereas the NES brought to the front frame rate and like a higher pixel rate, a more vivid color palette, a more better visual interpretation, better controls. It's like, and Mario was one of those games, like, you go back to Atari, you had Pitfall. Or like Atari, Amiga, and Commodore, you had Pitfall, which probably was the peak. And if you ever went and looked at old like Pitfall gameplay for them and compare it to fucking Super Mario Brothers, it's fucking worlds between them. And that's the thing. Nintendo, when they came out with the NES, they gave you a system that fucking blew the doors off of what we thought were video games at that time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I understand part of the reverence that Super Mario Brothers has, but at the same time, it's...
You can respect something's value without being unrealistic about it, and it's this weird thing where they blow something so far out of proportion. It's like, if you want to say it's your favorite game ever, then fine, I have no reason to argue with you about that. But to say, because when people, indulge in that level of nostalgia, one thing they're not realizing is they're not respecting any progress we've ever made since. To say things like,
and it's funny,
Mario,
I was just thinking that it's like they basically are dismissing the idea that things have gotten better.
yes, to say that no game has surpassed Mario. But when the fuck did when Mario Brothers came out? Fucking
1980. I want to say 83 in Japan. 80. I think Nintendo came out 84, 85 in these states.
Yeah, so like, let's just say 30 years. Like to say we haven't been able to make anything better in 30 years. That if that was true, then the gaming industry should be ashamed. Absolutely ashamed. And you see it with other things like cartoons, like they'll hold old things in such reverence that they just assume that nothing could possibly be close. I mean, you even see it in wrestling sometimes. People just run away and say things like nobody will ever be as good as, I don't know, Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels, whoever. And they're great, but it's a really depressing statement to say that for the rest of time, nobody can ever get to that level. It's not very optimistic.
Like with wrestling, if I had the biggest complaint, my biggest complaint would be the one thing I think a lot of people I know who like older wrestlers say, they don't seem to care about pretending this is real anymore because we know everybody knows it's fake. And it's like, in my mind, sure, it is fake. TV shows are fake, but people don't act and kind of hint and lend to you that, yeah, I'm in a TV show and I'm being fake. Whereas I feel like Vince has this weird thing where he doesn't care if you let it be known as fake. You know what I mean?
It's
on screen at times. It's like, I don't care if you're on Twitter or whatever, social media, talking about your real life and things like that. But Vince, to me, take it. Yeah, I wish you would be more kayfabe on social media, but at the same time, Vince takes it a step too far with stuff like, to me, Total Divas. That's where I think it takes it too far.
I think wrestling is this, it's not like a movie or. I mean, because I shouldn't be offended when they're just like real people on Twitter. That's their own personal, social media. But it's like wrestling characters are presented traditionally as if they're real people. So it's a completely different art medium than like a play or a movie or anything else. Like they don't have the same luxury to be people outside of wrestling because we never talk about wrestlers as if they are acting a part. And then when they leave the set, they're somebody else. And they're not generally booked like that on TV. It's this weird, fucked up gray area they're always in.
Yeah, and that's my only thing with wrestling. Cause like you said, it's a medium that has been built on the predesignated notion that, I am truly this fucking guy. Like, I'm Kane. I'm this guy whose face was scarred and it's just this like creepy badass and stuff like that. But this guy's running for fucking mayor of a city right now.
And maybe you could let it slide for more extreme characters like that. But if you look at people like Seth Rollins, for example, what's his character? What's the difference between him as a person and his character?
Yeah.
Can you describe it? Like,
a lot of them are
people.
I feel like that's why the investment in wrestling is kind of weird. It's like I think a lot of people just like wrestling because they like to see people do cool shit. And that's the thing I don't like either. It's like, it's kind of boiled down to the only real investment people ever put is like how cool of a move you can do, as opposed to how good is this story? Like, what's your character like? Is it a really convincible character? Where is this going? Type of thing. Like it,
But part of the reason I'd asked about the nostalgia thing, and I brought up Ready Player One because it did have a theme that somewhat interested me, and it's this idea of escapism. Always trying to escape from your real life. I feel like a lot of people try to use nostalgia as an escape, and this idea of escaping always concerns me. I have friends who, if you read some of the comics of last year, they're like, this is too political, referring to, say, Captain America, Sam Wilson, where Falcon became Captain America for a while. And if you hadn't read that line, it was kind of feeding off the whole Black Lives Matter police violence thing at the time. And it got pretty intense at some points. But shit like that, where they'd be like, I read comics to escape all this real shit. Don't bring politics into my comics. Like politics in comics is a new thing anyway. Or they'll say that shit about video games and TV shows and music and all that shit. They always complain that people are like fucking up their escape. And it feels odd that people are always so intent on trying to escape life. I mean, I do get that to some degree. Life can be stressful. It's not terrible to want to escape shit, especially if you're, not everybody's life is equally bad. If your life is just particularly horrendous, a little escapism is not the worst thing in the world. But this intentness people have on just getting away from real life all the time is a little concerning to me.
No, I understand what you're saying, because this episode is all about escapism in a way, because we don't want to talk about the political stuff. At the same time, it's not like we have removed ourselves completely and just refuse to acknowledge that this stuff exists. I think, like you said, people kind of do get a little overboard with it. It's like escapism should be something that you do to take a break, like we're doing. We're taking a break.
Right.
But reality is still there. It's like I play video games sometimes to kind of escape in a bit of a way, because I've had a stressful day or something's going on that's bad. I just need something that can relax me and just not focusing my mind on that. But I'm damn sure not forgetting about my problems or what's going on. I just need a moment to take a couple of hours to just relax my mind, ease off, chill out. And I'm going to go back to that, because if it's something, especially if it's something important, it's something that's really, really bothering me, I need to address that. But I think you're right. A lot of people kind of overdo it with the whole idea of escapism. And nostalgia is...
Well, I want to be careful with the words there, too, because sometimes when I say that, I feel like people think that I think, oh, you're a terrible person because you want to escape. I think it's a normal psychological tool to use. It can be good. And again, we all have a different life. Some people's lives truly are horrible enough where they should probably have more of an escape than others. But I started noticing when I was playing this game, it was like Final Fantasy 14, I think. It was a role-playing game, and you get caught up in your character and your role-playing and stuff, and you hear all these people talking about using this as an escape from life, and I'm like, why are all of your lives this terrible where you are so intent on escaping them at every hour of the day? I don't know their full experience, but some of that might be dedicated to making your life a little better. And again, you should not want to escape life this badly. That's a bad sign. You see it a lot with politics. People just kind of really tapped out, and I understand it, but they're always trying to escape anything troubling. It's and I respect that that's a theme of that Ready Player One movie. At least it seems to be. I obviously haven't watched it, but that is a theme I picked up on in that movie. It's fucking odd, and especially now, because there's a lot of ways to escape with the technology we have.
Yeah, no, but some people, it's like there's a healthy limit to almost everything that you indulge in, and some people do take it to a point where they completely dissect themselves with reality in attempts to escape. It's like, I'm not going to dissect myself. It's like, again, I mean, shit. I actually pulled up Twitter just a second ago just to see if anything stupid happened. Why? Because I can't fucking escape reality. Reality, like, I can't disconnect myself from what's going on, because some of this stuff can be a concern to me. I know it's just not.
And you should, more to the point, you should not want to escape. You should be really careful, because a lot of people seem to say that phrase, "This is my escape," not realizing how dependent they really seem to be on it. I don't know, the video game thing always stuck out to me, because it's like, I come here to have fun most of the time. I'm not really trying that hard to escape my life. Even Sometimes I am. It depends, but
yeah, and no, and to be quite honest, there's a lot of video games that I don't see how you could say that escape shit. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be Joel in The Last of Us. I'm not escaping to that. Joel's life is fucked up. Like, if my life is that fucked up, why am I escaping in him? Like, god damn it.
Mass Effect is an escape. That shit. I want to be a motherfucker exploring space and shit. That shit is adventure.
No, but in a way that to me that's not an escape either, because you got to deal with some like real freaky shit, and it's like, do I feel good about fucking this tentacle lady? Like,
that's a stupid question. Of course you do.
Like,
that'd be great.
Some weird shit. Like, she got tentacles for hair, and she's blue. And
you know how many of us are hoping like that species actually visits Earth, and you're questioning that shit? We're getting ready for this.
What happens? But see, here's the thing. What happens if a Krogan female wants to get with you?
Then you shoot yourself because you're not going to stop it. There is no resistance.
That's what I'm saying. You would escape into this world. There's possibilities in this world that are frightening. Okay?
But I don't think, them escaping is them, stepping into the role of another person, because you see it with comics. I saw a lot of people last year or so complaining that this is too political. Comics is my escape. I think it's just anything that distracts them from real life.
Yeah. And I meant to get back to that. First of all, if you say that about comics, you're kind of stupid, especially if you read Marvel comics, because even as early as the mid 80s, when I was reading about one of the things, like I used to always be a DC guy, because DC, one, I've always been a Batman fan. Batman's always been my favorite character. But two, DC was straight legit comic books. They were fantastical worlds and put in situations, with the exception of Batman, which is why probably Batman has always been my favorite, because out of all the DC comics, Batman was probably almost always been the one series that has been willing to connect itself sort of to real life topics and situations, despite, how fantastical it could be. But for the most part, DC Comics always separated themselves from the real world, and it's always been about the hero versus villain, the fantasy thing. They've never really tried to make political or social statements. Whereas the first Marvel comic I ever read was an Uncanny X-Men, and it happened to be an Uncanny X-Men that was about Dazzler and Mojo World, and you saw a lot of fucked up shit with Mojo World that kind of was akin to what was going on at the time when I read it. And it's like, as I read more and I started to pick up different X-Men books and different Spider-Man books, it's like you realize that it was Marvel comics were very socially aware books. It's like, if you really want to break it down, the whole X-Men agenda has always been predicated on race.
Sure.
Always been about how there's been the establishment, which kind of holds back, or they exhibit prejudice towards the different, the smaller, like the lesser known, the less empowered. It's like, and there's always the fear of what happens if these people rise up and things like that. It's like Marvel has damn near always been, since Stan Lee, and I hate to give him this credit because I know if he were to hear this, he would fucking orgasm. Stan Lee feels like if there would be no Marvel without him, which I beg to differ. Jack Kirby and all your writers and drawers had a lot more impact than you, sir, but you just fucking threw out stupid ideas. Have you ever seen an interview with fucking Stan Lee? Just to go off on the side real quick, have you ever really heard an interview and somebody put me onto an interview with Stan Lee that made me disgusted by his presence?
I haven't listened to him talking any great language.
There's this old interview that somebody showed me, and I don't know where to find it anymore, where they were asking him about how he created all this. I think this was done right as the Marvel movie started to really kick off and things like that, like the early X-Men and stuff like that. And he was like this. It was like this interview where they're asking him how he came up with all these characters. And it's like a good example would be like he would say shit like, you know, in my head I could see this man who's covered in this iron suit, and you know, this iron suit makes him so invincible. And then it just came to me, the invincible Iron Man. Or he'd say like, you know, I thought of this hulking green guy who was really, really powerful and strong and full of rage. And then I thought, why don't I just call him the Incredible Hulk? It was like, bull fucking shit. Like, that is your fucking like thought process behind this? You're legitimately saying that you were thinking about this and then you started to say it's just a hulking thing? Hey, Jack, draw this guy. I think this should be a Hulk. No. Fucking no. Somebody else came up with that idea and you're taking credit. You know you are, Stanley. Like, he may have had some ideas like, I want to like make this like really big monstrous guy. And then Jack Kirby, it's funny because Jack Kirby gets so little credit for a lot of what Marvel has. That's why he left and went to DC again after he has switched the first time, because fucking Stanley is bullshit. Yeah, no. Jack Kirby is very underrated. Stanley is very overrated, but he's a character and he's a personality. I really think that's one of the reasons why Stanley has always like been so beloved, because he's a fucking personality. I don't think he's as genius as people think he is. I think he just was at the right place at the right time, surrounded by the best people in comic books at the time who helped make Marvel what it became, to be quite honest. But that's neither here.
I guess I've never personally had that reverence. Like I respected him as being one of the, I guess, founder people of Marvel, but I never personally thought of him as like a great writer or a great mind or anything like that.
Oh no, people revere the fuck out of him. It's like when you start to like dig into the history, it's like, why? Just like, honestly, again, Batman being my favorite character, when you dig into the history of Bob Kane, who is supposedly the creator, you realize he stole a lot of people's ideas. You know, it's like, yeah, you're not the greatest, Bob Kane. You actually fucked over a bunch of people to get where you got. So good job.
Crazy.
You know, but it's like that. It's like him and Stan Lee are like fucking overrated shit in a way. But anyway, no, but it's like going back to what you were saying about the whole like political thing. No, Marvel, since the Silver Age, the 70s, Marvel has always been, because you look at some of the characters that came up. Fucking Luke Cage. What do you think Luke Cage is? Or Black Panther. Those were two characters that came about in an era where, you know, kind of during post-civil rights movements, after the civil rights laws have passed, where people still had that angst against, you know, black people being like looked at in roles like they were. Those were two roles that were created in a time where like people weren't really trying to see that shit, but they were making political statements with those roles, you know?
Sure.
So yeah, comic books, I mean, comic books, especially in the sense of Marvel, has always been, and DC finally got hip to it during the 80s, because you would see social things like Teen Titans. Teen Titans in the 80s was kind of political too. And they had social themes to it. You know,
it doesn't bother me in the least.
Yeah, but it's just, but it's just like, I don't understand that whole idea like, oh, comics are getting too political. No, it's been like that for a while. You just haven't really paid attention, or you didn't care to pay attention. You just don't like it now because we're in the social media age where the, you know, consciousness thing is a lot louder than it was back then, where it was loud only because there were people who would stand up and come out and say, few and far in between. Now everybody can speak on it. And it's like, yeah, you're just mad now because you can't hide.
And sometimes, you know, being off the politics can be good entertainment. I liked the Captain America Sam Wilson run and Steve Rogers and the fucking Secret Empire shit. That was all largely political. And it was, given the Trump shit that was happening at the time, I thought it was a really great tie into that whole situation. A great way to illustrate that shit. I don't know, just this huge desire. Even on Facebook, sometimes I'll see people get annoyed, like, "Oh, there's too much politics on Facebook." Like, well, it's fucking important. What's your problem?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just like you think. I mean, again, think back to stuff like the mutant registration stuff that happened during '80s comics. That shit is uber akin to current things, like the fucking documentation of immigrants. You know, that was always a thing. Of course, there was a registration. It's not like that wasn't a registration back then either. In real life, you know, or like wanting to put everybody on the island like Genosha and things like that to protect them. Yeah, people have always had that idea, like maybe we should all separate ourselves and keep ourselves safe, or maybe we should put all these people in one particular place to regulate them. It's not new. This ain't like something that's new. It's been going on forever. And Marvel touched on that during the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Why should it be different in the 2000s, in the aughts?
I will grant it can be pushed a little hard. There have been some characters that I've read over the last year that I'm like, this is a little on the nose. This is a bit much. For example, in Falcon's comics, there's that kid Falcon, or what's his name, Patriot or whatever. I can't stand this motherfucker. He's just like this, you know, he's this black kid. I don't know how to fucking describe him. You'd have to read a few issues. He just drives me fucking crazy.
Check it out.
Every time I see this motherfucker.
No, I can understand it because I do feel like there are areas where in real life people are over, and we've talked about this before. People go like a little too far in their, you know, like fight for justice or whatever you would call, you know, their political stance, their social stances.
Yeah, you know, even then, I kind of let it. I don't get as mad as some of these people because some of these characters I find kind of annoying at times. They're younger characters, and younger people tend to be like that around social issues. They're a little bit more liberal than older people in a lot of cases. They're more, you know, they're getting to that rebellious age of their life, added on top of all the social issues they're starting to notice. Like, it's not out of character based on who they are and their age and shit. So as much as it annoys me, I do tend to think it fits for their character at the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. People get really pissed off about really dumb shit. Like I said, even on Facebook, I saw a lot of people getting annoyed that people talk politics on Facebook. And it goes back to that escapism thing. When are we supposed to talk about politics or religion for that matter? Can't talk about it at home or school or work or in comics or in video games or Facebook. Why are you always running away from some of the most important shit in society?
Yeah, no, there's some things that should have a conversation. I mean, even if it's not based on those things, entertainment should have a license to get serious about certain things. This is like, okay, Last of Us, even though it's not necessarily based on any like specific social thing, it's in a serious tone and it's done in a way where like it makes you think. Why are people so upset about your entertainment making you think, even if it's not dead on a real topic? Like, I mean, shit, Last of Us made me think a lot, even though I didn't finish it. I like watched the rest of the game, and like the shit that they introduced and brought up and the ideas, like, yo, what the fuck would I do in that situation, or how would I feel? And that it's like people seem to just want to like numb their brain.
Reason made me.
Like, no, I don't want to numb my brain. It was just like you just played through Horizon Zero Dawn. And I'm sure you've noticed there were some side missions or different story links that could make you think.
Yeah, I mean, even just the main shit was like, it was really thought-provoking. I was like, what would we do as a society if we came across this issue? Because it doesn't seem impossible, per se. Like,
yeah.
It was concerning.
Yeah, no, like the premise, like once you start discovering cauldrons and all that, you know, again, spoiler alert for a game that's over a year old. But you started to like find these different like clues that something happened in society where they really fucked shit up, trying to control things in certain ways. Like, yeah, no, it makes you like, damn,
they fucked
that shit
all the way up.
Yeah, it's like that shit could really happen. Like,
Like when you see like post-apocalyptic stuff like that, I don't think any of them normally go that far as far as how fucked up shit gets. But you know, and I know some of these things, these topics and stuff can be uncomfortable or whatever. But I would say two things to that. First of all, if we normalized talking about them, they would be a lot less uncomfortable. And second,
yeah, maybe we should have the conversation. You wouldn't feel so bad.
Definitely, we make so many things taboo that and so rarely talk about that. Yeah, they're definitely uncomfortable. And second, you got to get over being uncomfortable sometimes. Not every waking moment of your life has to be this nice, easy, no thought or thought-free, you know, ordeal here. Fucking, it is okay to be a little bit psychologically uncomfortable sometimes.
Yeah.
I brought up topics on here that make me dreadfully uncomfortable, partially because I don't really know how the fuck to think about them in the first place.
Yeah, no, and I like the fact that games go that route now. Just like I love the fact growing up that Marvel Comics was one of the things, and later on DC started to pick up on it. Comics went that way. That was what made me love comics because it gave me food for thought. I've always been that person who I love being entertained, but I love it even more if I can be entertained and have my mind, you know, challenged as well. That's like again, maybe it's a nerd thing, but that's just like double win for me. You know, it's just like why, like again, going back to the nostalgia thing, it's part of why I guess I'm not like most older people from the era of earlier video games who are just so beholden to these games that I dismiss everything you guys do with your games or every game that you guys love, because I fucking think current video games are the epitome of gaming in my, you know, because you're getting these deeper, richer stories. You're getting better storytellings. They're able to express, you know, emotions and things better in games now with the graphics to go along with the deeper writing in gaming. It's like, yo, okay, I don't think Mario's all that, but I understand why people think it's good. That being said, what the fuck is Mario? What's the fucking depth of Mario other than I gotta go save this chick because this dragon took her?
If somebody tries to tell you there's literary depth in Mario, they're pulling it out of their ass. They're reaching to kind of justify their love
any
of
Mario lore that you see is people making shit up post game and just trying to make this seem like it's something bigger because it's really not. And it's really not. This is like we were talking about Overwatch and we were saying they need a campaign. They should do a campaign. But even without a campaign, they have great lore. And that great lore is actually expressed in the game because if you actually pay attention to the conversations that these characters have with each other during pregame, you realize, yo, there's something more than just me going out here fighting the other team. These people have had like some quite interesting shit going on in their lives. It's like you hear fucking Zarya talk about how she loved the fact that fucking what's her name? I forget the Korean girl in the robot. Oh god.
I forgot her name too.
Yeah, but it's been a while since I played Overwatch, so don't hate me. But then you hear her talking to her about like, yo, you've had a great career as a gamer and shit like that. It's like, what? Wait, what? She's a fucking gamer. Like, they actually built depth in a game that necessarily isn't built on its story. But
that girl in the robot is like a pop star or something, right? Because I remember
she's a fucking esports star.
Oh, maybe the dude, that black dude with the beats or whatever.
Yeah,
he's a musician or something. Because I remember like she said something to him once about his like music, and I'm like, what the fuck was that just now? Like,
yeah, he actually is. He's a Brazilian like pop star. Yeah,
yeah. Like, it just came up in the conversation in the waiting area. She just like spawned this random little conversation about one of his shows. I'm like, what the fuck was that? Like, you just spit that out like you guys are just two friends hanging out here. Like none of us players
know each other's lives, and they remember like it's cool. Like, and it makes you seek that knowledge on top of liking the game itself. Games is so much better now. I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry, as much as I love The Legend of Zelda, it wasn't until the third one that they actually tried to build big depth to the story. outside of people's fan fiction and shit like that because it was just about saving the fucking princess.
When I was talking about there not being much to the
no, I take that back. Because Zelda
Uncharted
did have depth, but it was only in the manual, and people only if you read the manual.
Sure. When I was talking about that first Uncharted, yeah, I didn't shit on it. I didn't say it was bad. I said it was okay, and I realized part of the reason because I've just gotten used to a higher quality of story as far as writing goes, and there was nothing extremely wrong with the story in that Uncharted. It's just the writing is generally better nowadays.
Yeah, no.
in AAA games.
And then if you really like want to go deep into it, there's a lot of like amazing things when you think about Uncharted because Uncharted was written by Amy Hennig. It was Amy Hennig's second game that she wrote, the second or third game, because she wrote the Legacy of Kain games. But coming off of that, you have to realize that Amy Hennig was not in the video game industry. Amy Hennig actually has a degree in screenwriting from USC. She was trying to write movies, and she fell into gaming. So for somebody who just fell into gaming and just got this job and was asked to write a more theatrical game, pretty good first shot, considering that you had shit all knowledge really, except for like that one experience. I mean, and if you ever played the Legacy of Kain games, they weren't the one that she wrote and the series as a whole. Cool story for the time, but it was in the time where video game storytelling was getting better, but still stuck in the sort of kind of. It was like a PC. It was generally a PC game, and it was the early disc-based system games. So it was like people were still figuring out how to use like the larger data that they had, going from cartridge-based games to disc-based games. So it was like that learning curve period. But this was like PS3, where we had a couple of runs of disc-based games. We had better storytelling ability. It was like, yo, she was given a bigger platform. And it was like, for the first run, it was not bad. Not the greatest thing, but it was a good way of establishing a universe.
Tomb Raider might be a decent example because I don't remember when I was younger playing those earlier Tomb Raiders. I don't remember much of a story there, but if you look at the most recent games, like they're really well written. Like
they just made a movie, which by all accounts is pretty damn decent, considering it's based off a video game, because they base it off the story of the video game.
When I saw they announced that movie, my first thought was, why? The game is already awesome. It tells a beautiful story already. And, you know, kudos to them if they manage to stick to the game, but it's like the storytelling in games has gotten so good that I don't expect many movies to be able to pull it off. First of all, gaming as a medium in general is just better. In a lot of cases, it's longer, it's interactive, there's more exploration and depth you can get into the world. So they have many advantages over movies in the first place, but the writing of those games are just good already. So it's not like, I remember when they made that movie, I'm like, what is the point of this?
Well, no, the reviews I've seen, the reviews that I've seen that are negative, I feel have been the most closed-minded because they're trying to make them one-to-one to the game. They're looking at the movie as this should be one-to-one to the game, which it shouldn't, because you can't pull off certain things that they pulled off in the game.
Right.
in a movie. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to see I forget her name, Vivander, or I forget her last name, but I don't want to see her get her neck snapped in the way that I've seen, Laura, because you can't just put that in as just a random moment and then rewind the game back to her doing a try again. Or there's like some shit, like fantastical shit that's in that game that, yeah, you kind of don't want to go because, again, great story, but it's a little too far-fetched for reality in some areas.
Sure.
It works for the video game, but might not necessarily transfer screen. But from what I hear, it actually does a good job of incorporating a large amount of what was done in the game without making it hokey.
No, I've heard the same. I certainly was not pooping on that game. I just remember thinking it was more a comment on how well the writing in gaming has advanced to the point where I don't feel hungry for movies like that because the writing in the game is already so good. It's like,
Yeah, it's like the floating around of making an Uncharted movie or making the Last of Us movie. You don't really need to do that. It's not like something that's neat. I mean, the properties themselves are movies enough.
if you want to do that with like I might be the one that likes these fucking movies, but like the early Mortal Kombat stuff, when they had a movie on that, like, Mortal Kombat has like a story, I guess, but it wasn't like delved into that deeply in the game. For the most part, they were just fighting games, so it was okay for them to do a movie at that time.
Yeah, they were just kung fu movies.
Yeah, so like with that, it was all right because while there was a story underneath, it's not like the games told the story that greatly or anything. I just don't see it with like these AAA games where the stories are fucking amazing and make you cry.
No, they're setting it up, aren't they? My friend might be right. Are you looking at SmackDown?
I'm not sure how to feel, but
I hope it's not going to be what's going to happen. Although, again, if it's a match with one of them, I'm fine with that. Don't do the Shane McMahon shit just to put Shane.
No, do the tag match and then have Brian go heel.
And no, not with them in the ring.
I miss heel Brian. We haven't had that shit in a while. When he's a heel, he is fucking vicious.
Yeah, he is. But I feel like it should be done with them. I feel like it should be done in a different match if they're gonna do it then.
Well, I would say he shouldn't be part of this shit in the first place, but here we are. So I'm trying to make the best of the situation. So
yeah.
Have you seen that Winnie the Pooh shit? It's like a Christopher Robin. I saw a trailer for Christopher Robin.
Oh yeah, that movie that came out last year. That was.
Did it come out last year? Yeah, it
It
was like a live action
Margot,
thing.
You talking about the one with Margot Robbie in it?
Was she in it? I don't even remember.
No, because she did a movie called Goodbye, Christopher Robin or something. It's actually not a movie that you probably want to see because you would get depressed. No, because it was actually supposed to be about kind of like the real person who basically, because if you ever heard the real story of behind Winnie the Pooh, it's kind of fucking depressing.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that, but that's not this. This is like,
okay.
It's like, I guess, Christopher Robin as an adult, and there's this creepy Winnie the Pooh motherfucker. I don't know. It looks like shit to me.
Why is Winnie the Pooh creepy? I mean,
have you not seen this motherfucker?
Winnie the Pooh kind of is creepy in his love of honey, because, like, damn, you kind of over.
But in live action, though?
Oh, nah, I don't want to see a live action Winnie the Pooh. I hate the live comic book movies or cartoon movies, like the Smurf shit. I hate that shit. Or the Garfield ones that came out. I hate it.
Bruh. I'm gonna send you that trailer after, but and this goes back to that nostalgia thing. Why are they always remaking this shit? This shit, all these Disney movies like Beauty and the Beast, like why?
I actually don't mind those because Disney actually kind of has been doing them right.
It's not that I think they're bad. It's just whenever I see them announce this stuff, I'm like, who's asking for this? Like, why? Those movies are already classic.
No one. But again, I think Disney has like a weird, like, magic to them right now. Oddly enough, where it's like we'll do this, but we're not gonna just try to do it one-on-one or try to just like a total. We're gonna do it to where it's viable. Like I heard the Beauty and the Beast was actually pretty solid.
Yeah, I've heard it too.
And I honestly am looking forward to goddamn The Lion King for some reason. Don't ask me why. But like the casting, it's like fucking great.
It interested me. I just see too many of these fucking things where it's like, it's not that I think they're bad. It's just the desire to do it in the first place. Because I look at like my friends got excited. I'm like, why can't we move on? I like new shit. Like, what's that fucking movie that came out a couple years ago? Moana. That was completely new. And I hate how much I like that fucking movie.
And maybe that's why I'm not mad at Disney, because Disney does enough original stuff where, okay, you just did like maybe 2 or 3 different older movies. Like you did, and it's not even like that. It's like they did like Melissa. whatever the fuck that movie's called. God damn it, alcohol. Maleficent. You know, and it wasn't necessarily a direct one-on-one Sleeping Beauty story. They actually just focused on Maleficent and her story more than anything. But it's like, yeah, Beauty and the Beast was more one-on-one, but they didn't try to make it like totally based on the cartoon. I feel like they kind of do it right, and they have a license because, again, like you said, they had Moana. This year they had Coco. This past year, it's like they still do original properties. It's not like they're abandoning it. They got their Marvel universe. They got the Star Wars thing where they clearly are moving beyond the Skywalker saga. So it's like they're not necessarily beholden to nostalgia necessarily.
I'll give them that they bother me less than Nintendo's obsession with Pokemon and Mario.
Yeah,
I have friends who would be like, you know, I play Pokemon because it gets my nostalgia juices going, and I'm like, how can you be nostalgic over this? You never stop playing it. You've been playing it for 20 fucking years, like nonstop.
Exactly. Nintendo is like that. You be playing the same shit since the NES came out. I mean, shit.
And again, it's not like they're bad quality games. They're good games, but it's like this injection of nostalgia you always want to stick into your veins. Like,
yeah. And I think, like, talking about gaming, that's why I think I love Sony so much, because you look at the studios, just like Horizon Zero Dawn is a great example. There are a lot of people who are Sony fans who love Killzone, but Guerrilla Games, they were given the opportunity to make a new game and move. Or like Uncharted. Uncharted was Naughty Dog moving away from platformers. Naughty Dog had did Spyro, I think, earlier on, before they got bought up by Sony. And then they did the Crash Bandicoot games, move on from that to Jackson Daxter. And Sony let them do like totally different material with Uncharted, third-person action adventure. And then you moved on to Last of Us, which is a much more deeper, richer storytelling version of third-party action adventure. Or Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch was the one who did. I think they might have did Spyro. I forget who did Spyro. In any event, Sucker Punch was known for Sly Cooper. Then all of a sudden, bam, we're not doing these platform games anymore. We're doing Infamous. Infamous, the third-party action adventure. And then bam, now we're doing this fucking samurai game. This is like, fucking out of nowhere. Like, Sony actually doesn't force their studios or producers or developers to keep doing the same formula. It's like, if you got a good enough idea that we think is cool, fuck it. You've done well for us. You've made us money. Why wouldn't we give you a fucking chance at trying something new? And possibly you'll do like Naughty Dog or like, Guerrilla Games. You'll have that fucking magic outside of, what we've had you do for years. It's like, yeah, we've brought you on. You did the same shit for years, and we appreciate you cultivating this stuff. Now, we show our appreciation by letting you decide what ideas you want to do, not what we want you to do, but what do you want to do?
And that's healthy too. You should want to, again, I never completely on nostalgia, but you should want to embrace some new shit. It's okay to like move forward in certain directions. It's all good. This Brian guy is awesome.
Yes, he is.
I wasn't even listening. I'm just looking at him like, yeah, he's awesome. He's the guy.
Yeah, because
bro, you better shake his hand.
We knew you were gonna do it because you're a fucking asshole. And you know what? KO is the greatest asshole. I love Kevin Owens.
KO is great at fucking everything.
And you know what? I love that Sammy is an asshole now. Sammy is so good as an asshole. God damn it, Sammy.
It is a testament to how good Sami Zayn fucking is. Because if you would have told me like a year or so ago he's gonna be heel, I'm like, how? Because I never saw his like ROH shit. So And given the character that he was at the time, like, he can't be a heel, but he makes being a dick work for him.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's because it's like you look at him, he's like, "You're not really a heel," and then he just like goes, "Oh yes, I am. I'm gonna show you."
He's so fucking. This dude would just walk up and start dancing in your face.
Shit! Did you see what Daniel Bryan just did?
No, I'm behind you, sir. Why am I behind?
I don't know. If you have any worries about this man's health, that should like make you feel better.
I feel like I'm like way behind you. So, all right, I'm at a part where Brian just like got up and started kicking KO, and now Sammy's on his back and shit. I feel like I'm like
with no abandon. It's
yo,
like
that suplex.
It's like, yo, you could have fucking fell on your neck and really hurt yourself, but you didn't care and you took that shit right.
Bruh. Oh my god, I feel like I'm gonna cry right now. Ah.
Oh shit.
I like how we're still on the podcast.
I know. Again, guys, we told you this shit wasn't gonna be about real shit.
This is the realest shit ever. Like, I don't give a fuck what is happening in politics right now. Like,
and again, Sami Zayn and KO heel team, they've elevated their game.
Like,
this is better than like fucking KO headbutting the shit out of Vince.
So I was at work. I don't remember when you sent me the shit, but it was Vegas who sent me the news that Brian has been cleared to wrestle again. And legit, I just completely stopped working, and I started to tear up when I saw that headline. Yo, why you kick him in the head? Wow.
Haluva kick.
First of all, that's a stupid finishing move. Second of all, don't be kicking my guy.
No, it's not a stupid finishing move, but it's definitely a stupid name, because you ever looked at the way they spell Haluva kick?
No, I just assumed it's not like Helluva, is it?
Yes, it is, with an accent at the end. It is legitimately HELLUVA accent mark. And it's like, yo, really? Y'all don't want to say hell of a kick? Y'all really are that averse to the obvious? He did. Okay, I'm shutting up, because when you see this, you're gonna know that Daniel Bryan definitely is bad. And fuck Kevin Owens.
So next week, we're going to be talking about all sorts of horrible political stuff. And by that, I mean, we'll have to catch up on what's happened over this last week, plus all the horrible shit you know is going to happen next week. And I say that because I want you to keep this in mind. When we're showering all that horrendous shit on you, just keep in mind Daniel Bryan is back, and it will all wash away.
But did you just see what they did to Daniel Bryan?
Let's see. I just got a powerbomb on the apron.
Yeah. You can't take that if your neck's that fucked up. Because that's a hard move to take.
Well, was it his neck? I thought it was the brain injuries they were concerned about with him.
It was his neck too. Because he could have been paralyzed. He had like brain stuff, but he also had a like severe neck. Because I don't know if you remembered why he had to give away his championship, but that was why. Because he had neck issues, and then they discovered the brain thing after the surgery. It was like, yeah.
God damn.
Hey, he took it.
All right, see, I guess this is Vince's way of saying that's what you get for trying to, get back into wrestling and shit. You had a nice, cushy job, and
because I think this is like Daniel Bryan says, I want it, and this is, I'm going to prove to you, Vince, I'm good.
But you fucking get, you short-bearded motherfucker.
By the way, isn't it extremely anticlimactic that the fucking follow-up to SmackDown is the unsolved, the murders of Tupac and Biggie?
The follow-up to SmackDown, sir, is 205 Live.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like, it just angers me that they didn't find a way to put it on USA, whereas we got to see some bullshit shit like this. Like, I'm sorry. One, I grew up during the whole Biggie Tupac thing. Two, I don't need you to do no sensationalized bullshit of trying to make a dramatic like TV show based around those with some fake ass Law and Order shit. Fuck out of here.
Oh my god. But
I'm offended.
now that we did that, yeah, I just wanted to, as advice to everybody, in the back of your mind, no matter all of the horrible shit, and there has been some horrible shit that I've been suppressing this whole time, Daniel Bryan is back, and the world is good, and good shit happens to good people, and we're all gonna win the lottery and get laid, probably. That's my prediction. Every one of us is gonna win the lottery and get laid by next week because Daniel Bryan is back. The universe is super positive right now.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. What were we talking about before this epic moment?
Who cares?
I kind of like feel the same way. And it is kudos to WWE because you actually have given me a reason to want to watch you again. Mind you, I like a lot of the current roster, but the storylines that WWE
is so fucking weird. They have like such a talented roster, and you never feel that way.
Ridiculous, but the storylines are just dumb. It's like I can't sit and watch a whole show, but I actually sat and watched the whole show only because I knew that there was going to be something big with Daniel Bryan, and now I'm going to be compelled to watch SmackDown because there's going to be something big with Daniel Bryan because I love fucking Daniel Bryan, and it's like, or as Matt Hardy calls them, the Dragon of America.
I like that he said that because I feel like they never called him the American Dragon in WWE.
Yeah, they never mentioned what he did outside of WWE.
Which killed me when they started calling him like, when actually it was fucking Punk's fault when they called him Goatface or whatever, and they got rolled with that. And I'm like, you have American Dragon, and you cocksuckers go with Goatface.
Yeah.
This fucking Vince guy. Everything has to be funny.
It's like, and it has to be separate of what they did before. It's like he hates to acknowledge that these people existed before him. It's like, you weren't made before me. I'm making you. He can't stand that. It's like, dude.
There was no Brian.
It's like, how, the thing is, the man who doesn't give a fuck about kayfabe wants to keep that. Like he has the need to make sure that everything that exists about you is all WWE branded and within its universe. But kayfabe doesn't exist. This shit ain't real. Fuck out of here, son.
It's Daniel Bryan back though, so he's on my good side for a few days.
Yeah, he let Daniel Bryan come back, so fuck it. Vince, you get a pass. Okay. All right, so let's lead into the wrap up. Have a couple of questions for you. First, have you actually watched the gameplay of God of War?
Nope.
Sucks that you didn't, because again, it's not spoilery or anything like that. They just show you like mechanical stuff.
So I actually just forgot on that one because you said that it wasn't spoilery, so I was gonna watch it, but I was distracted at the time.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because they make sure to say in the beginning of the video, it's like, look, we're not going to show you any story stuff. We just want to show you some of the different moves and things that you'll see in the game. Like they show some of the stuff with the axe. They show you basically, look, you don't have to worry about this little boy as an AI being annoying because he's actually not. He's actually a really good AI and stuff like that. It's like, it's just showing you like things that they chose mechanically wise are working well. That's basically all it does.
Yeah, I'm taking a quick glance at it. These graphics look fucking amazing.
Yeah, that axe is fucking amazing.
And I'm glad that the boy is a useful AI because I was playing Uncharted. I was thinking to myself, because sometimes you hang out with that girl, whatever her name is. And I thought, what a useless asshole. Like, she has this gun, and I'm like, is she even shooting anybody?
Yeah, early on, I mean, they get better. But it's funny, because even though, like, you kind of think Last of Us is a little bit better, generally speaking, the AI in Last of Us can be cumbersome. And from what I've heard and like again stuff I've read and like interviews I've seen, they got that from Naughty Dog, but he was like, the director was like, I kind of don't want him to feel like he's obtrusive or he's in the way. I wanted you to feel like, yo, if he wanted it to feel like this guy's not, like he's there, but he's not demonstrably noticed. It's like you don't have to keep an eye on him. You don't have to worry. Like I know one of the things in The Last of Us that bothered me was there were moments where you legitimately had no choice to worry about Ellie. But as intense as the moments were, it was like, yo, I can't worry about you. There's a lot of shit going on, but I gotta fucking watch out for you. Really? You know what I mean? I can remember, and it's funny because this one particular moment which really pissed me off about the game just jumped in my head. And it was just like, yo, they put your character in a situation where he's in a fucked up predicament. He can't really do much. And you have to be very on point with what you do to survive because she's in danger too. And the whole thing could fall apart if she dies or you die. What the fuck?
I don't mind if they actually have a purpose in being there, I guess. If you know this to make it more challenging, because what bothered me about the Uncharted thing is you'll have these moments where they're with you and it's like they're not in danger and they're not helping. And it's like, plus, what is this thing with these type of games where we have like, a traveling comrade? How is it they always say like, I'm going to wait here, you go do all the hard shit, like with no explanation. Why don't you?
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. It was the same with Uncharted in a way. I mean, not Uncharted, Last of Us in a way. But I guess that's why it was more frustrating because there were a lot of moments where she hung back, but then there was just like all of a sudden this one set piece where she's gonna fuck up everything if she goes down. And it's just like, yo. And it was never like a simple situation, or it was never a situation that the stakes weren't ramped up way more than they ever, you know what I mean? It was just like, yo, this is like some really like fucked up shit. Like I know they said that in God of War the guy is never really in true danger, but at the same time, he doesn't just seem just like he's just somebody who's just there to be fill screen.
Yeah, to actually participate if you're gonna be there.
And if you look at the gameplay, he gets it in. Like he's not just the sidekick or like just sitting there. Like this dude is jumping in there. He's going up, even with the bow and arrows. Like you would think, oh, they're just gonna make him a stand off the side, just shoot arrows type of person. Nah, he gets in. Like he gets his hands dirty. So that was pretty cool to see.
This looks not just graphics, but just control wise is radically different than the original God of War trilogy. Yeah. And I hope people appreciate that shit because it goes back to what we were saying about things actually improving. I mean, maybe some people don't like this over the shoulder thing. I could see that.
No, it's fucking awesome.
I mean, I like it. I could see if you wanted a more pullback view. That would be like a minor thing, but just generally, like if you don't see this, the mechanics here as an improvement, you probably don't remember playing God of War very vividly, very accurately.
Because I know you probably don't have the volume on, but if you can hear the volume, you'll realize that this ain't a button masher anymore. And again, this is me being able to appreciate stuff that's old, but having a realistic view. God of War is a fucking button masher, guys. It's button mashing as hell. You can do certain combos and you can like do sequences, but you can get through that fucking game just mashing buttons in most situations.
Yeah, this kid though.
Yeah, no, isn't he like fucking like, oh, it's like, oh, you actually are of use.
And he doesn't have like a health bar or something?
No, because like I said, they said they intentionally made it to where you won't have to worry about him being in danger. There's like a couple of moments where it'll seem that way, but it's like they didn't want him to be a burden in that way that they've seen other games, because they were like, it's kind of hard in those, again, going back to what I was saying about The Last of Us, sometimes it can be kind of hard when you do have to worry about your sidekick, because you've been put in this situation where there's too much going on where you're trying to survive to worry about them surviving.
Yeah, it can certainly be definitely problematic at times.
Yeah, they were like, it's not an easy balance, and they were like, they didn't want to do that, but at the same time, they didn't want to make him seem like he's just not there as well. So they figured out a way to make him present without having you feel like you're burdened by him.
As long as he participates and has some, because I don't know, sometimes it feels like the only reason some of the secondary characters come along is to just say, I'm going to watch you do the hard shit. But the number of times she's like, I'm going to hang back here. You go solve all these puzzles and do all this dangerous shit and shoot all these people. It's like, bitch, why did you come if you don't want to participate? What is your problem?
Yeah, no, and it's like, again, like they kind of in one, but it's mostly like they're just running around from cover to cover. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Whereas, like, as you progress, especially in like 3 and 4, like especially 4 and 4, oh no, actually not just in 4. Like the culmination of them figuring it out is actually Lost Legacy, because you're playing as Chloe and Nadine's your sidekick. Nadine be fucking up people. Like Nadine is like, I'm here to fight. I don't know what this sidekick shit is, but I'm a participant. Like Nadine is a godsend. Because Nadine will kill, like she will kill half the map, and you be like, "Oh, damn, why am I here?"
Yeah, because at one point I was like, I can remember what part of the game is. You're just kind of like trapped in this area with a lot of motherfuckers, and she's there, and I'm just like standing there looking at her for a second. I'm like, "Are you even shooting anybody? Why are you holding that
like
gun?"
Just running from cover to cover and moving across the map, like they're acting like I'm gonna run around to make it seem like I'm doing something, but I'm just.
And then. After that, I was like, okay, I guess she doesn't really do anything. I guess she's more decorative. So then I try to move, and then she's standing in the fucking way, and she gets killed.
Like you notice it with Sam too, though, and Sam has a fucking gun.
Yeah, they're all fucking annoying with that. I remember one point she was like standing out in the open. And I was like, oh, I guess all the enemies are dead because I used her as an indicator. And then I walk out, and I'm getting shot. I'm like, you're not gonna shoot at this woman? Like, what is? Right,
and all of a sudden you just hear Nate. Like, why are you screaming my name? You should have killed him. You should have
standing right there in his face. What are you doing? Dumbest AI ever. And again, proof that video games are getting better.
Yeah, because again, like I said to you, you go to 2, it's a huge leap in a lot of areas, and then 3 was like the culmination of like, yeah, we finally get how to do this shit. Because in 3, the character's even extremely more useful. And of course, 4 and Lost Legacy is like pure refinement of it, to the point where it's just like, yeah, I'm comfortable with you being here because you're not just a fucking thing. There's still some issues, but it's like you're not gonna piss me the fuck off. You know, like especially with 4 and Lost Legacy, because they actually will do double team moves with you and shit like that. Even in 3, there's a couple of double team moves between you and the like AI. So yeah, it's like they'll hold people while you punish them and shit like that. So yeah, it got better.
Good shit. And my list is building. I'm getting through the Uncharted series. I want to play probably Infamous next.
Well, there's only Second Son and Last Light on the PS4, but
is the original one only on PS3?
Yeah. Although I will say this, you probably have the same feeling that you have with Uncharted 1, because I mean, generally speaking, like while I like the Infamous games, the controls are fucking wonky as fuck, especially the jumping. Like Sucker Punch has a weird floatiness to their jumping that is insane to me. No, I mean, and I say this, and it's probably not like formulating your mind what I'm saying, but yeah, there's this like weird floatiness to their jumping that's just dumb, to me, and it exists even in the newer ones, but at the same time, the powers and the things that you can do in the game is like fucking dope as shit. I especially love how in Second Son and First Light, how you can switch. Well, in Second Son, First Light you can't because this is all about the girl, but I actually wish they would have made more DLC for that game because, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but you have several different like variations of powers in this one, as opposed to just being stuck to one in the first one. In the second one, they kind of introduced like the idea that maybe you can do other stuff, but the character in Second Son is able to do several different powers, and there's some cool ass fucking powers. And like when you see the names of some of them, like the video powers is basically called your video powers. Like hearing that sounds dumb as shit, right?
I wouldn't know what the fuck that means.
But when you do them, you're like, yo, that's cool as shit. Or like neon is one of your powers.
Okay.
Fuck care about neon, but no, neon is the coolest power to me, and it's like dope as shit. And when you see the shit that you can do with it, you're like, yo, that's hot. It's like these are stupid premises for powers, but they freak it in a way where you're like, that's really, really good,
Let's see about getting it, but I'm gonna take it back. I don't think Infamous is gonna be next because it looks like God of War is coming out next month.
Yeah, in a month.
So I probably need that time to play through the rest of the Uncharted series, and then I'll just jump on God of War, and then Infamous next. I don't know about that it's gonna be. We'll see. There's a lot of there's a lot of shit to play, and a lot of shit coming up too for all those like negative people who are like, there's never any games. There's games.
Which was the second question I was going to ask you. By the way, I agree that there's no games. There's always been games. People just always. I don't know why people want to say that because maybe it's because there's no huge AAA game that you want. But why do y'all sleep on indies and all these other smaller games or lesser known games? There's always games to play. Y'all are dumb when y'all say that shit. Like it's not that there's no games. It's just that you only play certain games.
Yeah, for me, there's old shit now too. Because or even just on when I got on the PSN, I don't remember their names, but I was just like scrolling through and I saw a couple of those like more indie style games. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of interesting. I might actually hop on that shit. I don't need every single game to be 100-hour open world extravaganza.
Yeah, like I might have mentioned this to you before, but look up Bastion, Pyre, and shit, I just forgot their other game that Supergiant just did. Let me look it up because it's actually one of my favorite games of all time. How could I remember?
And you can't even tell me the title. Full of shit.
Probably because I kind of get like an angry, reaction to it in a way. And I'll tell you why once I pull up the name. Transistor. Transistor was probably the best game in 2016, in my opinion. And it's an indie game. And the reason why there's anger is because I played this game. I love the fuck of the game. The soundtrack is fucking amazing. Mechanics, everything. Fucking dope game. Around the time where I finished it, my internet went out. And I finished it while my internet was out. And for some reason, that caused a corruption in the save file because I had my PS4 set to where it automatically uploads saves and stuff like that. So I guess that maybe that tripped something. But when I beat the game and it was about to go into the final like cutscene, the game crashed and it deleted my save file.
God damn.
Yo, I was so fucking pissed. It was like, yo, I just crushed this shit. Like, no! And it's not like I mind playing the game again because the game is fucking amazing. I don't generally play games over, but it's just the fact that I would have to play it again only because the fucking internet and Comcast, you fucking dirty bastards, robbed me of like getting the like final cutscene. And that's the only thing I missed was the final cutscene and the final trophy, of course, for beating it. Because it didn't archive the trophy to prove that I beat it. Even though I know I fucking beat it. Because I sat there and I watched like that dude die and like saw the transition into the cutscene and then boom, crash.
Well,
that was, but no.
You had the opportunity to play again.
But yeah, Bastion, Transistor, Pyre, definitely like Supergiant. Supergiant games are the Ryan Cooglers of video games right now. they've never missed.
I'll probably hop on those right after God of War because, like, you know, 'cause like I said, I miss a full generation of PlayStation stuff. So it's like there's a lot of long
You're
games
like me
to
with
play
PS2
through.
because I miss PS2. So yeah.
There's quite a bit to get through the library, and it's not like I'm just saying I'm getting through them. Like I'm legit. Like I beat this game in like 2 days or so. So I wouldn't say I'm rushing it, but I'm playing it fairly frequently. So I'm about to catch up. I'm having a few months long PlayStation binge.
But no, that was my next question. What new games? I'm not going to ask you old games. What new games are you looking forward to so far?
I'm getting increasingly hyped for Spider-Man. I really wasn't sure about it when they first announced it because I'm like, you know, I remember Spider-Man on the PS2, but it's not a game everybody pulls off great. I remember there was like that fractured time when they had it was just whatever. But the more I see it, the more I'm like, yeah, you're getting me there. You're getting me there. Just release it and we'll see what happens. I don't want to get my hopes up too high, but I want it. I really wanted to see Anthem this year, but I guess that's not going to happen, which breaks my heart because that was one of the games that convinced me to fucking jump back into the gaming thing. I just like the way it fucking looked. I don't know. God of War, obviously. Last of Us 2, super fucking obviously.
Are you going to play the first one?
The Last of Us?
Yeah.
I played it.
Oh, you did play it. Okay.
I got a PlayStation 3 like a year ago. So I played Last of Us on like the first 2 God of War. Which reminds me, I think there's a third one that I did not play. Which
well, the third one is on PS4. They did remaster.
Yeah, I'll probably play it. I don't see the God of War stories as being so awesome thus far that I feel like I have to, but I'm kind of a completionist that way, so I'm probably gonna play it.
No, I'm probably gonna piss a lot of people off when I say this too, because I pissed a lot of people off when I was on the Grown Man Gaming podcast and said this. But God of War is fun games, but character-wise, Kratos is shit.
Yeah.
Like, he's just a fucking raging baby who doesn't take responsibility. And the entire God of War series up to this point, which is why I'm more excited about this God of War, because it's like, oh, you seem to have grown up, sir. And you seem to actually have real, like, feelings and emotions now. You're not just a rage baby. This might be interesting to me. You know, that's why I'm really excited about this one. Like, even though I was, like, hyped on God of War 3, it was only because I know how the action is going to be. Yeah. You know, it had really, really good action, but story-wise, Kratos is a shit. He's a horrible character. And he should not be revered at all as a character. He should not be celebrated.
I found myself incredibly underwhelmed with him as a character when I went back to play him last year. It's a fun hack and slash, but that's it. It's a hack and slash. I wouldn't go in there expecting a tear-jerking story.
Yeah, no, it's just I'm mad. I'm like, oh, I killed my wife and kids. It's your fault, bruh. I told you this has consequences. You said fuck it. I want to come back and kill all my enemies. I don't care what it takes. All right, bro. I'm gonna let you do this. Guess what? You're gonna kill it. You're gonna blow up the town, your wife and kids, as well, and burn them. And also, you gotta wear the ashes because you did a fucked up thing. And you need to, like, you know, remember that shit. Oh, it's your fault. Nah, I gave you a choice. You didn't have to take that choice. Could have died honorably on the battlefield. Nah, fuck you. I'm gonna kill you. Kills Ares. Comes back, God of War 2. He's a fucking dick of a god, doing all types of fucked up things, murdering prostitutes and shit like that. The gods was like, dude, you're out of control. We need to remove you from this shit. Take away your powers. Oh, for real? You want to take my powers? Fuck you. I'm gonna murder you all. He goes on a fucking rampage to murder. Then all of a sudden he finds out, hey, Zeus is my daddy all this time. He never told me. Fuck you, Dad. I hate you. I'm gonna murder you. God of War 3. I'm gonna destroy Olympus because I got daddy issues. Now, on top of my maniacal, like, you know, murderous rage and my lack of responsibility, now I got daddy issues. Sir, Like seriously, you kill all your brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, relatives because you can't control yourself. You can't make good decisions in life.
Vegas has an extreme problem with Kratos.
I do. I really do fucking hate Kratos as a character because of that. That's why I think this is going to redeem him somewhat in my eyes. Because he's just a fucking guy. He embodies what I hate a lot about society today. It's like that person who does all this fucked up shit and just want to hit you with that. It's just a prank, bro, or just want to like blame everybody else and everything else for the reasons why he does what he does and take no responsibility whatsoever. He just wants to be an asshole, just to be an asshole, and don't want nobody, no repercussions, nobody checking him.
Shit. Detroit's still coming out, right?
That comes out May.
Okay.
Yeah, so you got April God of War, May Detroit. We still don't know when Spider-Man, but they've guaranteed it's coming this year.
That's why I don't feel that whole there's no game shit. Like I'm feeling overwhelmed by the amount of games that are coming out personally.
No, there's
unless you play through them all like really fast, maybe I could see how you might feel that way, but take your time and enjoy them, bro.
That's the thing. That's why I feel like people feel like there's no games because games have become longer, deeper, more robust than they've ever been. Again, nostalgia people. I understand why you love what you love, but again, I've been able to sit and play through The Legend of Zelda in one sitting, is in a 4 or 5 hour sitting. You can't necessarily do that with games today, but people seem to do these 10-hour rushes through a game in a day or two, which I can't fathom because I don't have that much time in my life. I'm sorry. I like to work. I do go to school. I want to work on other projects. I want to go out maybe sometimes, even though I don't go out. Sometimes I do get the urge to be social and things like that. Hell, I might want to go on a date or something. I'm not going to spend time trying to race through. I have Persona 5. I know I'm going to play the fuck out of that game, but I'm not going to beat that game within a week because that game's going to take me a good 80 hours. If I beat that game in a week, what's wrong with me?
Sure.
I just spent 80 hours after I work 40 hours a week. I study probably a good 5 hours a week at the least and worry about school stuff. And I just want to chill, relax, maybe watch TV some of that time. Also, hey, there's this thing called sleep. I cannot going to run through the game like people do, but I really think that the concept of no games is partially due to the way people digest it. It's like you're gorging these things. Sure. You're not chewing your food. Chew your food, please.
I think I played Horizon over the span of 2 weeks or so, and I could have spent longer on it. I actually rushed a bit because I had something I was going to do, and I wanted to finish it off. It was like a little... I talked to you about it, but I don't want to talk about it here. But I was busy.
Yeah.
So I wanted to finish it off before my busyness became overwhelming. But I could have spent a long time on that game. And you should want to. You should want to take your time and really soak it in if it's really that good.
Yeah, and if you're someone like me, I buy games when I see them and I want them. So I have a bunch of games and I haven't finished a bunch of games. Well, it's because I don't just stick to one game and try to marathon it. I'll dabble. Sometimes I like to play multiplayer. I'll spend a week just playing. The last couple of weeks, I went back to Battlefield 4. That game's fucking 4 or 5 years old. But I sometimes like playing some older games, and I'll play some newer games. I'll play multiplayer games, or I don't play games at all. It's I diversify my stuff without clumping it all together and trying to run through it. It's I don't understand how people get that many hours of the day to dedicate to these things.
All to complain at the end that there's nothing to play. Yeah,
it's you fucking killed your time. I don't know.
Yeah, so Detroit's another. I saw that there was going to be a fucking Far Cry whatever
Far Cry
number
5 comes out Tuesday. It comes out. Yeah, it came out today. I just thought about that.
Did it?
It just came out today.
I've never played one.
I've never played a Far Cry either, but I kind of want to play this one because of its setting.
Where's it set?
So it's set here in the United States in Montana. You're this crazy Christian. You're not him, but you fall into this town where there's this crazy Christian fanatic who like is basically doing like all fucked up things to people who aren't a part of his way of thinking, his way of lifestyle.
Good shit.
And you're basically there with a couple of different townspeople to break like his, psycho-maniacal Christian, fucked up agenda. I mean, that's what it is because he's like a David Koresh, type like Johannesburg type leader.
I might give it a look. I don't know. I've seen I think I saw Chase do a playthrough of one of the Far Cry's or something. They just never got my eye.
Yeah, me neither.
I never looked at anything first, so it might be different.
Yeah, like they've had interesting characters, but I've never found like what they've done as far as gameplay wise, like that engaging. I think one of the things that probably endear me to this one too is that they've gotten rid of the tower climbing shit. Which anybody who knows me knows I hate platforming of any kind in first-person shooters. I think it's the dumbest thing in the world. It's like first-person perspective in games wasn't made for platforming.
Not even for Mirror's Edge?
No, that's why I never would care to play. I've never played Mirror's Edge because it's like it looks cool, but it's like I know I'll be fucking ready to like throw my controller or throw up because I think like no.
Yeah, I did too. I played a little bit of it, and I was like, I feel like I'm good for life.
Yeah.
Call me back when it's like in a real virtual reality thing I can really run and jump and shit, but for now, I'm good. Yeah,
no, because like I played a couple of campaigns of Call of Duty, and they do that shit, and I'm like, why? And it's funny because I'm able to play Destiny, but I hate it in Destiny too. I like Destiny, but I hate the platform. It's like I groan every time. I get
since I have a console, I could probably try Destiny as a matter of fact. Fred told me to get FIFA. Like, people bossing me around.
People love FIFA. And honestly, I like FIFA, but it's like not to the point where I feel like I need to get it annually.
I've never been a big sports guy. I liked FIFA. I haven't played one in like many years, but I like FIFA and shit. It's I would probably be more inclined to buy shit like that or NBA or NFL or whatever if I actually follow sports. Because whenever I tell people, especially like my black friends or whatever, I got a PS4, they're like, "You got 2K?" I'm like, "No."
Can somebody please like stop that with the 2K shit? Like, come on. It's funny because again, I'm a sports guy, but even I recognize 2K is not that great, and people get it every year, complain about it every year. It's like, why are you still playing this shit? Stop. It's the best basketball game, and I like playing basketball. It's like, yeah, I like playing basketball too. I'm not gonna fucking bang my head into a wall just because I like a certain genre. Like, if I think it's bad, it goes back to part of that whole complaining about there's no games thing. I feel like people just want to complain just to complain because you put yourself in these situations where you make yourself complain. You run through all your games. You play these sports games that give you fucking like headaches and heart attacks. You hate Call of Duty now, but you buy Call of Duty every year. What is wrong with you? Like, come on. Like, remove yourself from the situation that you claim is pissing you off, and then maybe you won't be so pissed.
Yeah. But that was the handful I'm looking forward to. I think my looking forward to thing will grow over time because, again, I haven't been playing games really for like the last few years. I played Final Fantasy 14 a lot. It was just a role-playing game, and I got into it for a little bit, for like a year or so there. But other than that, I just have been completely divorced from gaming news and shit like that for a long while now.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why I think like your list is so short right now. And I'm looking for my PlayStation controller because I dropped it. I don't know where I dropped it at. Help.
Yeah, no, I don't know shit right now, and
Yeah,
I'm pretty
you forgot
consumed
one
with
big
those-
game that's coming out in October that I'm surprised you didn't mention. Red Dead Redemption 2.
Well, because I never played the first one.
Really? You need to play that. I believe it is available somehow for.
So everybody get really hyped about it, but I'm like, I remember hearing it was really good, but I just never played it at the time.
Again, another thing I'm gonna piss people off that I've said before, but like in the scope of Rockstar games, it's the best, and it shits on Grand Theft Auto, which I think has become a very overrated series. Yes, Grand Theft Auto 5, I think is very overrated. Solid game, not a bad game, but it's not as great as people think. And I think even with my love for Red Dead Redemption, I think part of it is because they finally did something truly different since like Bully. Like I think Bully is the biggest departure, even though Bully still has that whole Rockstar formula, just like Red Dead still has the whole Rockstar formula of how they do open world games. At least it's in a more interesting setting that lends to better storytelling in my view, because fucking the Grand Theft Auto games are all the goddamn same. They're solid, but they're all the same solid, well done games. But it's just like,
good. It's the same reason I tend to shit on Pokemon sometimes. It's not like I think they make bad Pokemon games, but it's the same formula every time. You're some fucking kid. Your mom moved you out there. Get your first Pokemon, gyms, Elite Four, whatever the fuck. It's the same thing over and over again. So any individual game is not bad, but as a collection, it's a collection of the same thing.
Yeah, like I've gotten over the idea that I could run amok in the city. And it's nice that they gave you 3 different characters in 5, but you're still just 3 people running amok in a city for the most part. Like, I can only get so many lap dances from a stripper.
The fucking, whatever his name is, the white dude that still has hair on his head. A full head of hair.
Michael.
His story was relatively well fleshed out. But yeah, it's not the best thing I ever played in my life. But I do think about it, because I used to be a lot deeper into the gaming culture. Now it's like I don't really watch stuff like grown man gaming shit, because I'm just not as deep into that stuff as I was, some years ago.
Yeah.
A lot of times people mention these games, I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, I forgot it was something I mentioned to you, and you were like, "What is that?"
I'm sure it's something everybody but me knows about.
Yeah, but it's like if you're not like that attentive, and it's funny because I kind of always been attentive, but you're kind of like me in a way how I was with PS2, because I never had a PS2, never played a PS2 game until I got a PS3 and I played the God of War collection, to be quite honest. So, yeah, I was just all PC, like you were for a while. And so, but I had always kept up with the news because for some reason I've always liked reading gaming magazines. So I was able to keep sort of up to date, but not all the way. So it was some things where people would mention to me, I'm like, what the fuck is that? Or it's like now when I talk to people who are like deep into gaming, and they mention a game and I'll be like, yeah, I never played that. And they'd be like, what? It's just like, I played the first Halo. I've never played any other Halo. Never played Gears of War.
That broke my heart.
Yeah, but it's like I never had an Xbox. Again, at the time, PC, no console. Never had it. And it was like at the time, the PC I had couldn't run the first Gears of War. And then all of a sudden, Microsoft stopped putting their games on PC, which I find very ironic now. It's like they can't keep a game off PC.
I get the same reaction all the time with more classics. Like, I don't think I've ever played a Legend of Zelda game, which freaks people the fuck out. But I was probably the only person like in my family at that time that was like kind of getting into gaming. It's not like I had that many people around to introduce me to the shit. Or quite frankly, it's not like I was gonna make my parents spend like a shit ton of money all the time on that
Also,
stuff.
I would think in your frame of reference, your gaming probably started when Xbox kind of started to take over and PlayStation was the king. Because Nintendo wasn't, since the first PlayStation, Nintendo hasn't been the king. It's like, yeah, first PlayStation, N64 was kind of a thing, and GameCube had a little hold on people, mostly because it's like a handful of game, but it wasn't like as big as PlayStation. But it's like, yeah, if you started gaming in the original PlayStation 1 era, you probably didn't give that much of a fuck about Nintendo or the game. So why would you have played a Zelda game, to be quite honest?
I didn't have that. Like I think my first console was probably like the 64. Maybe some before that I just don't remember because I was too young. But I remember having the 64 briefly and having a couple games there before we got the PS1, PS2, 360.
See, the Zelda stuff was more early in 64, mid in 64 era. You got it in the late cycle. You had already missed Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask.
Yeah, I feel like the friends that really give me shit about that were deeper into nerd culture than I was at the time. So they went back and played that shit.
Also, I will say this. Your friends are probably full of shit anyway, because I think a lot of people like to do that, call people out. I find this very true of a lot of people. They like to call you out on nostalgia, old shit, when they probably never touched it themselves. It's just that they know this is something that you should know. So if you don't know, then it's their opportunity to call you out as a lame, even though they only know because they read about it or heard enough about it or watched their older brothers play or some bullshit like that, when they actually never like put their hands on that shit. But it makes them feel cool that they know more than you know, so they get to rag you with it.
Plus, I feel like for me, part of the reason I have a hard time catching up on that shit is because I always have to play from the first one. So it's like Final Fantasy, for example. I never played that series because like I only played 14 because somebody asked me to, and I got kind of into it. But I don't know much about the lore of the series in general because if I'm not starting from the first one, I don't give a fuck about the rest of it.
Okay, again, nostalgia breaker Mike. Final Fantasy is loved because there's underlying like threads within them, but to 100%, none of the games have fuck all to do with each other. Like there is no contiguous Final Fantasy world. The continuity of Final Fantasy is certain things like mogul, like you get the moguls, you get certain items like the ribbon is always the god item because it protects you from everything. Certain like weapons have kind of always found their way in each Final Fantasy. Sid, there's always a variation of a character named Sid in each Final Fantasy game since what was it? Final Fantasy, was it 2 or 4? Which, by the way, another fun fact about Final Fantasy, the naming convention is all fucked up because 14 is 14, but up until 3, which is actually 6, in America, we didn't keep up with the numbers. That's why it went from Final Fantasy 3 to Final Fantasy 7 in America, because we skipped over games. It was like, first Final Fantasy, then the second Final Fantasy was actually Final Fantasy 4, but we called it Final Fantasy 2 in America. And Final Fantasy 3 was actually Final Fantasy 6 in Japan. And then they decided, once they came up with 7, like, fuck it. Y'all Americans, we ain't going to do this shit for y'all. We just going to call it what it is. Fuck y'all. Okay? Once they moved to PlayStation, they were like, we're just going to call it what it is. So in America, unless you imported the Japanese version, you missed Final Fantasy 2, Final Fantasy 3, Final Fantasy 5. Yeah. You missed like those games.
And now I'm not going to catch up because that's too much of a clusterfuck for me.
Yeah, exactly. And again, like I said, they don't connect to
right.
You. They're all their own stories. So you can play 15 if you want, and it would have nothing to do with 14 online. It's just that there's certain themes and certain designs and things like that are Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy is revered because they have a certain style and a certain, draw to the way they build their worlds. On top of, there have been some amazing stories inside of these worlds, but none of the stories have nothing to do with anybody. Like Cloud, Terra, fucking the guy with the fucking blitz ball and all that. They don't know each other. They don't exist within the realms of each other. They're just the tool of the game at the time, and people find them memorable for what the game is within the game, but there's no like Final Fantasy universe. So you could pick up Final Fantasy 15 if you want right now. I do recommend it. It's a really good game. But you don't have to worry
that's
about
really makes sense, because when they announced 15, I'd only played 14, so when they announced 15, I was like, oh, it's gonna be a continuation of this, and then I'm looking at them, I'm like, I do not see the link. I don't understand.
Yeah, no, because you're a bunch of J-pop kids running around in the world,
right? Which was just a completely different setting. And to be fair, I wasn't paying that much attention to the story in 14 either, so I was like, I really haven't paid any fucking attention, because I just don't understand how we got from 14 to 15, but I guess the way you describe
it, the 14 is just an online game. If you go to the background lore, they're their own worlds and their own spaces.
Well,
yeah, so.
I guess I can roll with that, but it has been a barrier for me with other like classic shit where it's like they're so far ahead. And just games like TV shows too, where it's like they're so far ahead. It's like,
yeah, I wouldn't recommend nobody get Metal Gear 5. Like I haven't played. I've played a couple, but not to continue like to the end of Metal Gear. But it was like I played some of Metal Gear 1. I played some of Metal Gear Solid. I played some of I think that's it. So it's like for me to play Metal Gear 5, even though I heard Metal Gear 5 is more of a prequel, I am so lost in like the world and what is and why they're this and all of that shit. It's like fuck it. I'll watch somebody play that shit. Like I don't have time to actually want to catch it, and especially since it's a convoluted story anyway. Like nah, I'm good. You do your thing. Somebody tell me. I'll enjoy it that way.
Yeah, but yeah, don't be out here shaming gamers, guys. We haven't all played the same shit. Like, I don't know why some of these people have had like every console and every game on every console. Like they just have played every fucking thing imaginable. I did some other shit with my life at the same time, I love being a gamer, but I could not play enough to manage the amount of knowledge these fuckers seem to have. Although I guess, like you said, they could just get it from reading and shit. I don't know. Because people get like, they act like you just spat on the Bible sometimes when you say you haven't played some of this shit.
Yeah, no, and it's like honestly, it's your habit of game. It's like real quick, and then I'll wrap this up because it's getting late. I just noticed it's almost 11 o'clock. Damn.
Yeah.
And I actually feel like I should play a video game before I go to sleep. But no, this perception of what makes you a quote unquote hardcore gamer or a real gamer or how the fuck you want to reframe it, it's dumb, and that's why I kind of hate. Like having gotten into YouTube when I did and getting to the gaming thing, I'm glad I did, but at the same time, it's jaded me a little bit towards the gaming community, at least current gaming community. People have some really fucked up ideas as to what makes you a gamer and to what level of a gamer you are. It's like, I will always consider myself a hardcore gamer because I'm into the culture, I'm into the lore, I'm into I sit and read gaming magazines. Hell, I have fucking Game Informer on my goddamn phone right now.
I just went to visit my mom over the weekend, and I saw some of my old Game Informer magazines just like stacked up there. Back when we had paper.
Yeah, no, and I used to do that. I used to collect those. I used to get the Nintendo Power, all that shit. And again, even when I wasn't playing consoles, I was still reading console magazines, Game Pro when it was around, all that shit. Because I love gaming as a medium, and I love to read and see what they do and experience it. But as I've been getting older, life, gets in the way sometimes, and it's like, yeah, I'll. Some will have those days where I'll play a game for 8 hours. It's far and fewer between now, But I still do that. At the same time, just because I don't do that on a daily basis or weekly basis or even a monthly basis, I don't think that makes me a lesser gamer than anybody else. Because it's not like I don't like playing games or I don't want to. It's just like, I have other interests in life or I have other obligations in life. You're not anybody special if you're able to beat a game in 2 days, in my opinion. You're just somebody who just happened to have 2 days worth of time to beat a game. If you beat a game on hard, cool. You're good at beating hard games. That don't necessarily make you even that doesn't make you more relevant or more, qualified as an authority on gaming, which I find a lot of content creators do these days. It's like, no, it just means that you're really good at playing this game.
I was wondering if they like it too. Like, now that you said that, I realized I think part of the reason I started to fall off was because I had been through college at the time, and the later years were pretty rough. So I did not have the time nor the money to afford because PS2 was like $500 at the time, but just generally I didn't have like that much free time or expendable cash to do that shit. And now that I've graduated and I'm more like settled in a career, I find myself coming right back to gaming now that I have the opportunity. But I do find that I love gaming, and I don't think a lot of those content creators do love it as much. It seems like a job.
It is. I mean, and that's something I wanted to touch on. I kind of mentioned it earlier. Like heard about the story about Drake playing with the Fortnite player and all that, and like everybody's going nuts over this, and everybody's getting excited. And I've heard a lot of people say how it's done great for gaming. And again, that's what I was referencing to when I was saying how the gaming has had its moment where this Fortnite player named Ninja got late night online and streamed on Twitch, and Drake joined the stream, and then a football player happened to join the stream, then another rapper joined the stream, and he had over 600,000 people watching him play with Drake and these other people. And of course, the narrative is Drake broke the record on Twitch, which I find fucking laughable because Drake wasn't streaming. He just happened to hop in on this guy's stream because Drake plays Fortnite a lot, and he watches this guy, and he was a fan of this guy, and he wanted to play with this guy, which shows you, even like someone like Drake, who's a very successful music artist, is very deep in the culture to the point where he knows like streamers and things like that. And like the football player, he's now trying to do streaming on the side, and you get a lot of celebrities doing streaming on the side of what they do. So they enjoy playing games and they enjoy streaming video games and being involved in the gaming culture. Gaming has now elevated to one of those things where you can't just say this is just a nerd hobby, or this is just a hobby for kids, or this is just something that shut-ins do, or it's just a novelty casual thing for people to do. Gaming is definitely on a higher platform, and it now I feel like is at the point where it should be indoctrinated with other forms of entertainment and media, with the success of esports, and this with this stream and all that, like movies, like music, like TV. It's just a natural part of life. It's one of those cogs of our social life. And it's no longer that lower tier thing. That being said, problem I have, and this is one of the reasons why I haven't been doing like streams like I should be, or doing a lot of content on YouTube, is like I get sick of the content creator culture because it's so predicated on, I don't know, I guess it's more about how big you can make your name rather than about celebrating the culture, the medium of showing your passion and love for what you're doing. It's just all about how many views I can get, how many subscriptions I can get on Twitch or whatever, how many donations I can get. And that, I understand part of that because, it is become a place where it's a lucrative career option, but I also feel like it detracts from what gaming was, and was like something that was a hobby that became a love and something that I really, really enjoy. It's like, while I like making content, I don't like the idea that I have to push myself to this weird, crazy state where if I want to like possibly see this as a career, I have to lose a little bit of the love. And that's probably why I've been so infrequent, because I fear losing the love. Like I feel like a lot of content creators do. I see the arguments they have and all the conversations they have. And it's like, y'all don't really care about gaming. Y'all just care about your position as far as like the relevancy when it comes to your voice in gaming and how you fit in as a content creator. It's like, yeah, I'm not here for that. Like you ask me my opinion, I'll talk to you about it. But like at the end of the day, I'm still gonna play what I want to play and enjoy it and not feel beholden to holding certain views or behaving in certain ways, you know?
Yeah, I certainly don't sense the same excitement when I listen to some of these people. You know, I think that's part of the nerd culture thing, is being excited about games or comics or whatever. And like I listen to some of these people, I'm like, I don't get the sense that you even thought about the notion of being excited about this thing. It's more like you going through the bases here. I don't know if you're even happy that this game exists. I don't know what's going on here. There's no hype. Not that I expect everybody to be on the hype train 24/7, but I don't know. It's odd.
No, it's like when we marked out about fucking Daniel Bryan. That's fucking was a natural thing. But it's like there are certain like wrestling content creators that I've seen that just want to be way too fucking analytical and not remember to like think, I actually got into this because I love wrestling, and they don't express any love. They just want to be the first to break news stories and like give their theories and not care about anything else. And not like you like Wiser seems to have a passion about wrestling, even though he has all his theories and all his things like that. He still seems to like he you can tell he's clearly seriously marking out at certain things. Because he still loves that shit.
Dropping on some of his streams, he'll be doing shit like watching old New Japan shit or like shitty old WWE pay-per-views. Like that's not something you do if you care that much about just being first or fucking
right. He's not just putting out wrestling content just because it's the way he makes his money. But you get that with a lot of people. It goes back to like that whole breaking into the code and wanting to find out things, or doing these like breakdowns of these movies and digging into Easter eggs and all this. Like, I feel like you're not necessarily enjoying this. You're doing it because you feel like you have to put this out, because if you don't get this up faster than XYZ, you're not going to get as much out of it as you would monetarily.
I bet I'll give it to him. It seems like if he's not interested in something, he's really not fucking interested, and he's not going to do any videos on it. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Which is probably healthy, because I definitely sense like some people are doing videos on shit that they just don't care about at all.
Yeah, it's like the Call of Duty community. A lot of them are still doing it because they have put themselves in a position where this is my meal ticket and I have to continue doing it. It's like, no, I don't. This is video games, dude. Like, no. I'm not going to grind out. I'm not going to sit here and record hours of content of a game that's pissing me off just because it's what has made me money in the past. Like, I'm just going to fucking like find something else to do for a living so you can enjoy life more. Please.
Yeah. It's short shit. But it's about to hit 11.
Yeah. So we thank you guys for sitting through this. We actually got 3 hours of content out of nothing political or super social. I mean, we've touched on our feelings of certain social stuff, but it has nothing to do with that administration. Thank you. This has been the most refreshing, like relaxing conversation I've had in a while, and I appreciate you with going along with my madness after I almost had a stroke last week and decided I can't take this.
I mean, it is good to remind yourself that there's other things in the universe, some things to actually be excited about.
Yeah.
Fuck it, Daniel Bryan.
I know. Oh my God. Can't wait till he fucking hits.
Bruh, I feel like I still haven't really processed the fact that Daniel Bryan is back. Because I just, we heard the rumors, but I just didn't really want to put my heart out there and hope.
When he hits Kevin Owens with the flying knee, it's just going to be so great.
They need to call that the Busaiku knee and stop fucking around. I don't want to hear that running knee shit anymore.
I think they just call it. They just want to try to steer it away because he got it from. It's funny because the person he got that from is actually in WWE now. That's a funny thing. That's the funniest thing.
And now we could have that match.
Yes, because and that's why I wish CM Punk was still around because I would have loved to see the battle of the GTSs. God damn it!
I can't believe they chased off Punk. Punk, give us some other good news next week and come back.
I know. Wouldn't that be crazy if you just see Daniel? Perfect. Daniel Bryan comes back, buries Sami Zayn, KO, and standing tall, and then Punk just comes out and fucking GTSs up.
Or if you want to ease yourself in, GTS Roman after he wins that title. Because so many people are groaning over the fact that Roman's probably going to hold that belt up at the end of Mania.
And he should.
Perfect. Just kick him in the face.
But Roman should, because why are y'all celebrating a part-time champion who does not give a fuck about the goddamn medium? He's just a paycheck. It's all it is to him. That guy has clearly shown in behind the scenes, in public, in the ring, gives not one fuck about WWE besides his fucking paycheck.
Hey, that was Mega saying that shit. Don't come at five me.
Whatever. He's not gonna care because he's gonna hear this. He's gonna laugh. He's gonna go sit on this farm and ignore everybody until it's time to pick up the next paycheck. Let's be honest.
Honest pile of money this motherfucker's making.
Yeah, he's getting a shit ton of money to show up 10 times a year. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, but all right, I think we survived without saying literally anything political.
Didn't even say his name.
Nope. I'm proud.
Yes. So, thank you again to everybody who watched. We appreciate you guys. Remember, feel free to comment. If you have anything to say as far as the stuff that we talk, feel free to let us know. Our Twitter handles and all that, the email address will be in the description of this, so you'll know how to get in contact with us if you have questions and stuff like that. Feel free to hit us up. The Wise Guy Gaming, Sports, and Entertainment Twitter does have open DMs, so if you have a question that you don't want to ask publicly,
slide up in there.
Yeah, or you can ask on the email WisguyGSE@gmail.com, all that good stuff. So thank you for doing this with me. I feel so much better about life.
Matter of fact, no book recommendation this week. It's a light week.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to ask you because I was just like, yeah.
All right, motherfucker, whatever.
No, because again, like I said, like I titled this isn't the normal episode. And I think whenever we do stuff like this, I'm going to make sure to let people know this is the normal episode. This will be every once in a while we'll do something like this to just chill out.
Or you'll shut down and try to escape reality like the rest of the motherfuckers.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's only so much alcohol in the world, and I shouldn't be trying to drink all of it because madness is going on. Goddamn. All right. So that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you guys again, and we'll see you next time.